1 o'clock sharp. Please come on in, take a seat. Please move into the center as much as possible, and we invite you to even come here and sit in toward the front. Thank you very much, and again, welcome to Angelo State University.
Let's go ahead and get started. Thank everybody for being here this afternoon to join us on this listening session for the House of Agriculture's Committee in preparation for the 2018 Farm Bill. I've asked Senator Charles Perry to open us with a prayer. Senator?
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we welcome you into this place. You are someone we seek and someone that we need, and we thank you for the blessings that you give us. We thank you for your unconditional mercy that you extend upon us so undeserved. We thank you for the gift of stewardship of the natural resources you've laid in this area, this country, this nation. We pray that we take that responsibility seriously. We thank you for those that have chose a life of agriculture and the values that comes with that in our communities. We thank you for a God that cares about us each and every breath, first and last. We pray for those that are called to public service, that they always do the right thing, and the right thing's grounded in you, and you alone. We thank you for the clarity of the path to salvation, for it's very clear that we come back to you through your Son, Jesus Christ. And all people said, amen.
We now ask Matthew Salisbury from Great Creek FFA to lead us in a pledge. Matthew?
Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, thank you very much. Again, now ask Dr. Brian May to greet us, as well as Chancellor Duncan. Brian?
I would also like to say that for folks that are standing up back there, we've got some seats way down here in front if you'd like to come. A lot of my students are afraid to do that. Maybe y'all will show them how. But, well, my name is Brian May. I'm the president of Angelo State University, and we are exceedingly happy to be able to host something such as importance as the listening session for the upcoming Farm Bill. Before I welcome you, I want to bring forward the Chancellor of the Texas Tech University system, of which we are a part of that, a stalwart for the boll weevil program here in the state of Texas, our own Robert Duncan.
Well, thank you, Dr. May, and I want to thank Chairman Conaway and the committee members for traveling to this part of the world. We call it God's country here in the heart of the ag world. And I also want to comment on each of the members today. I know we were out on a field tour, and the interest that these members have in agriculture and the importance of our country is sincere and significant. And I know they look forward to hearing from you today on the issues concerning agriculture and the development of the Farm Bill. Texas Tech University system is certainly ingrained in agriculture at Texas Tech University and Angelo State, and how we work together. And so this is a very important time for us to see the Farm Bill develop. And so we want to congratulate each of you for being here today to be heard, and congratulate the committee for coming up to West Texas. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Chancellor, and I think they've gone to get some cards, and we'll start calling up with our people who want to speak. And but on behalf of Angelo State University, again, I want to say I want to thank the chairman and the committee for coming to ASU. And I know I have some jealous friends in other universities around this state. I won't mention them, but we're glad to be a part of this, and we certainly know it's important not only to West Texas but the entire country.
Well, Brian, thank you. Brian will be our moderator here in a few minutes when we get to that part of the program. I'm going to start down here on my left with my colleague from Lubbock, Texas. Ask him and each of our colleagues to introduce themselves to you, and so that you'll know who you're talking to here in a few minutes when we start listening.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and it's great to be back home in West Texas, and I'm so excited to see my friends and neighbors and introduce some of you guys to my colleagues, my new colleagues. I am very proud to serve alongside my neighbor and the chairman, Mike Conaway, and I thank him for allowing me to serve on this committee. Particularly excited to be on the campus of Angelo State as a former vice chancellor at Texas Tech. I was there with Hans when we did the merger, and it was a marriage made in heaven. It just couldn't have been better for the Tech system. So kudos to the fearless leader of Angelo State, Brian May, and Bob Duncan. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. And what a great group. I know a lot of the producers and producer groups here are from my district, which is just separated by a row of counties. So great turnout, and look forward to promoting and defending strong ag policy so you guys can feed and clothe the American people. I'm on the subcommittee for commodities, the subcommittee for nutrition, and also the subcommittee on biotech. Great to be here with you, and I'll pass the mic.
I'm David Rouser. I represent southeastern North Carolina. Those of you that know the state of North Carolina, or at least seen it on the map, if you know where Raleigh is, go about a half a thumb down from Raleigh. That's the beginning of my district, straight down I-40 to Wilmington. So I have, if you want a vacation, I have all the beautiful beaches in North Carolina, and also a lot of agriculture. I've got a lot of hogs, turkeys, and chickens, tobacco, sweet potatoes, blueberries, strawberries, you name it, I got it. It's a great honor to serve on the House Agriculture Committee. I chair the Livestock and Foreign Ag Subcommittee. I'm also on the Biotechnology Subcommittee and the Nutrition Subcommittee. And it's always great to be back here at San Angelo. The chairman and I were here about a year ago, so we're making this an annual occurrence.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Congressman G.T. Thompson, Pennsylvania 5th Congressional District. Privileged to be able to represent about a quarter of the landmass of Pennsylvania, a large rural area. Pennsylvania's our agriculture is our -- industry in Pennsylvania. 1 out of 7 jobs come directly or indirectly from agriculture. And quite frankly, if you like to eat, the agriculture committee is the place to be. I have the privileged honor of serving under Chairman Conaway's leadership as vice chair of the full committee. I chair the nutrition subcommittee and continue to serve on a subcommittee I chaired for 6 years, which is conservation, forestry, watersheds, and soils.
Well, I'm Colin Peterson from western Minnesota. I represent the whole western half of the state, from Canada to one county from Iowa. We've got about every kind of agriculture there is, but we do not grow cotton, rice, or peanuts. But we're for them, so. I told the peanut guys that if they didn't behave themselves, we might start growing peanuts in Minnesota. But anyway, I'm glad to be here in Texas with my friend Mike Conaway, Chairman. We got a big job ahead of us, but we're going to get it done. We're going to do it on a bipartisan basis. With all your help, we'll make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Rodney Davis from Central Illinois. We actually have not many specialty crops in the 14 counties that I serve, but we have our 2 special crops, corn and soybeans. So we got a great perspective, and it's really great to be able to come down here to West Texas with Chairman Conaway, because what he constantly reminds us of from his perch in his chair is that agriculture is different everywhere you are. And the reason why we're here today is to actually find out what it is that you need, what policies that we're not familiar with there in Central Illinois do you care about the most, so that we can also have our farmers do a listening session like this later in the month and tell this same group of bipartisan legislators what it is that means most to them back home. This is what helps us get a good farm bill. It's what helped us the last time. It's what's going to help us in 2018. I'm blessed to begin my 2nd term chairing the Biotech, Horticulture, and Research Subcommittee. And with the research title, that's very important to me because I represent a land-grant institution in Illinois, some small place called the University of Illinois. But ag research is something that is crucial for us being able to grow the food and the fiber we need to feed the world in the future. Thanks for having us. And Chairman and Jody, you should be proud of those 2 Texans on this House Ag Committee. They do a great job.
My name is Darren Soto, and thank you, Chairman Conaway, and thank you to the great folks of West Texas for a wonderful tour this morning. Go Rams, by the way. In Central Florida, we have a large cattle and citrus industry, as you may be familiar with. I have the top cattle producing county in the state in Osceola County, Kissimmee, St. Cloud area. Also have a huge citrus county, 2nd in the state in Polk County. And we also have some blueberries and strawberries. You may have heard of our famous ambassador from Orlando, Mr. Mickey Mouse. Hopefully you all are familiar with him, but really appreciate the tours this morning. I sit on the nutrition subcommittee, which we will mark up the farm bill under Chairman Thompson, and also the commodity exchange committee. And as opposed to what you're used to from folks from Washington, we are here to listen. So thank you, everybody.
And lastly, I'm Roger Marshall. I'm a physician from Kansas that decided to run for Congress and very proud to represent the big first district, one of the larger ag producing districts in the country. 37 years ago, I hopped on a bus, drove 18 hours to Angelo State University to compete in a national track meet and ran the decathlon. So it's good to be back here. I want to brag on your congressman for a second. People often ask me, what's the biggest surprise when I went to D.C.? And the biggest surprise I had is the many men and women, godly men and women of faith. And you won't believe this, but the first thing that we did when I met Vice President Pence, he asked for us to stop and pray for him, and we sure did as a group. And every ag committee, I brag that we start with prayer. It's so great to serve with a person who talks the talk and walks the walk. I get asked about Russia, and I say, once I found out that Chairman Conway's going to be taking care of that committee, I said, I'll guarantee you this, at the end of the day, you're going to have a correct, ethical answer, and there's no more need to worry about it. And let's get on to the Ag Committee. So looking forward to hearing from people today. Chairman, very proud to be here and to serve with you. And my fellow freshman, Jody Arrington, we represent the two biggest sorghum districts in the country. And our sorghum people are here as well, and we're trying to learn how to grow a little cotton in Kansas as well. So looking forward to see what we have in common, what bipartisan solutions we can have to help this country move in a positive direction. Thank you, Chairman.
Well, thanks, gentlemen. Next time I have you guys on a panel, I'll make sure my mom is here. That way she'll actually believe all those things y'all just said. But thank you very much. The crowd is here to see Sonny Perdue, and I got to confess to you that Sonny's not going to be here. So those of you that came just to see the Secretary of Ag, called Friday night, and his boss, President Trump, had called an all-hands cabinet meeting for today. And so Sonny was coming to West Texas, going to spend the night with Suzanne and I, Saturday night, go to church with us on Sunday, come down here last night to be a part of this festivities. And so I know it was advertised that Sonny would be here, but he couldn't have been more disappointed. But those of you that have bosses and or wives, that's redundant, understand that when the boss calls, you got to go do what the boss says you got to go do. So we'll get him back out here at some point in time to join with us. But appreciate his wanting to come and be a part of this if he could. We're going to be listening, as Roger just said. Typical hearings in D.C., the members spend a lot more time yapping than witnesses, and so we're not going to do that. We're going to listen. If we've got a clarifying question we need about something you said, we'll do that and try to get that on the record. But this is your opportunity to tell us what's working in the Farm Bill, what's not working in the Farm Bill. If you've got policy solutions that you want to put forward, now's the time to get those on the table. Don't save them up to a better time because there's not going to be a better time. We're going to start the Farm Bill process in a fulsome way with staff and others over the next 8 weeks or so. And so getting your ideas now before we get things scored and begin to create artificial barriers to changes that might be there, the better. The silver lining in this otherwise dark cloud that represents production agriculture right now is that when we start this process with our fellow members who don't know why it's so important that we have a farm bill, and they ask why, excuse me, unlike in 14 when times were pretty good in production agriculture, and folks were asking, why do you need that? It's, times are never going to be hard in agriculture again. Prices are never going to go down again. They're only going to continue to go up. You don't need that safety net. Unlike that, this 50% drop in net farm income over the last 4 years, the worst since the Depression, will set a backdrop as to why we need these programs, why it's important that we have a strong safety net for production agriculture, why we need a strong nutrition title, why rural development title, energy title, the other titles that will be a part of what we're going to get done is important to the American consumer to make it happen. It all starts with the folks in this room. I'm overwhelmed by the turnout. Quite frankly, we had not planned for this many folks to be here. We'll have 3 hours or so to get at it when we get started here in a couple of minutes. Obviously, we're not going to get to everybody who wants to talk. We've got your cards. We're screening it through there to try to make sure we pick off all the various issues that were there. But this is important. We've got a lady transcribing. This will be transcribed. We're going to wear her out. This will be a part of the permanent record, and these comments will be folded into the Farm Bill process as we move forward. So this is just like a hearing in D.C. It'll be in the permanent record. to help us understand what we need to do and how we need to adjust the Farm Bill within the resources that we'll have to make this happen. So, again, thanks everybody for being here. One last housekeeping matter. Let's be polite to each other. I don't necessarily need to say that, but there are other types of times when folks get their blood up, and we don't need that to be the day. We're going to listen, thoughtfully understand what's going on. No decisions are to be made today. We just need your input, and so be respectful of each other's comments and as we move forward. So, with that, Brian, we will have our folks start coming up to. Oh, I'm sorry. Time out, Brian. Sit back down. My ranking member, Colin Peterson, has some opening remarks and some folks to introduce as well.
No,
so
I'm going to forego those because they've heard me say these things before. But I had some special people come all the way up from Wabasso, Minnesota. The FFA kids from this little town of Wabasso, which is in southern Minnesota, in the southern part of my district. So where are they?
Stand up.
Would you guys stand up? There they are. They, Tom and Divana Zoig, who are leaders in an agriculture community in Minnesota, rented a van, brought them down here, and they're going over to Beeville and they're going to LG Ron's place. Yeah, right. So anyway, they're going to go see how rice is harvested and cotton's harvested, and we got some really good young up-and-coming ag people, and we're glad that they've got this kind of interest, and they spent 18 hours in a van to get down here. So anyway, thanks for coming.
Yep. So I went out to introduce myself. I thought they were kids from Texas, and the first young lady introduced herself, and it's like, no, ma'am, you're not from Texas. That's an accent that I'm not familiar with in Texas. So, but glad to have you with us, and the future of agriculture is in good hands with Marshall and other FFA kids like that. So, Brian, kick us off, buddy. We need to get going.
I think we might be remiss, too, the Congressman would certainly join with me that we want to thank the congressional staff. They have been incredible, especially for the Ag Committee staff, Chris Hegelman and her folks, and our staff that really helped me was Christina Butts. We're going to start. We also want you to know that this is being live streamed. All of these of our student video cinematographers, and this is going through the House Agriculture website. So be sure to look at that if you want to. I think it'll be archived. You can look this up, and we have several cameras in here, so it'll go all across the nation. First we have up with is Russell Baining, Texas Farm Bureau President, and Matthew Huey Farms in Beeville, Texas. We have a mic on this side, and Russell, if you'll begin on this side. Be sure and step up to the mic closely, and 2 minutes.
Thank you. I am Russell Baining. I'm president of Texas Farm Bureau. First off, I'd like to thank Chairman Conaway and Ranking Member Peterson and the entire committee for this opportunity. Just to talk a little bit about Texas Farm Bureau's policy positions on the upcoming Farm Bill. Since the 2014 Farm Bill, we all know net farm income has dropped dramatically, almost 50%. At that time, agriculture contributed $23 billion in deficit reduction in the 14 Farm Bill. Due to the fact that the economy in the farm sector has dropped dramatically, we believe we need a strong safety net to keep going forward, to have a strong agriculture. We support the continuation of PLC and the ARC programs. We know the ARC program had some issues between counties. We think the ARC county program should be looked at. We stress the importance of cotton. Being out here, I know everybody saw a lot of cotton this morning, and it's very important to this part of the state and to all of this state. We think cotton needs to go back in the Title I of the farm program. Dairy margin protection program hasn't worked for our dairy producers. It definitely needs to be looked at. We need a stronger program there. Crop insurance. Crop insurance is so vital to this state, so vital to every crop in this state, whether it be corn, wheat, cotton. All of the crops come very much into play when it comes to crop insurance. Talk a little bit about livestock. The livestock disaster program needs to be improved, and possibly some new programs need to be looked at for the livestock industry. Something that's happening in South Texas, and many of y'all have heard about it, talking about the fever tick. We have a task force with Farm Bureau actually working on some issues, working on some solutions, we hope. We hope to make that maybe part of the Farm Bill discussion so that we can work on that devastating pest. Conservation, we support the EQIP program, Conservation Stewardship Program. We think those programs are good. Rural development and maintaining current funding levels there are very important. That's kind of the facts and figures. I want to say just a little bit about what I call the big picture. When we start talking about net farm income down 50%, we're talking about affecting real farmers and ranchers. A lot of times young farmers and ranchers. Affecting rural communities, as y'all well know. Driving in yesterday, I drove through a lot of rural communities. I live right south of San Antonio. And coming into Wall, Texas, that community is very dependent on agriculture. So when we talk about supporting agriculture, we're not talking about just farmers. We're talking about the rural communities. We're talking about the national economy. Farm receipts contribute about $1 billion when you talk about the whole food industry to our GDP. So with all that in mind, we believe that a strong farm economy is vital to not only rural communities, but the entire national economy. I want to thank the committee for your time. Appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Chairman Conaway, Mr. Peterson, members, thank you for coming to West Texas today. We appreciate your time. Try that. Is that better? I've been known to represent a few various organizations. I'm not going to speak from those today. I really expected to speak a little later, so I'm going to talk about some stuff that's near and dear to my heart from Huey Farms and from our family partnership, 1349 Food and Fiber. First is timing of payments. From South Texas, we're harvesting. We're about to finish cotton harvest. We're our corn and grain are out. Wheat's long gone. We've marketed a big chunk of our sorghum. The payments that would potentially be generated by this year will not be available till next October. We will refinance the 17 crop to plant the 18 crop before we get the payments from 16. So that's a challenge for us. Second is the issue of choice in Title I. We've always advocated policies for choice. I think that choice has made winners and losers, and no one remembers the winners. All they remember is the losers. Farmers make tough decisions every day. We deal with commodities prices. We deal with livestock prices. We deal with crop insurance choices. I think we're better served by a system that would combine policies of ARC and PLC for commodities and figure out how to deal with all of those without a choice. My personal opinion. Third is financial exposure. As commodity prices drop and costs increase, our financial exposure has seemed to have grown every year. The gap in our farm between my cost of production and my ability to insure is about $600,000. I'm 40 years old. I've been doing this 20 years. I'm about to have a daughter go into college. I can afford that loss once and only once. And I don't know how many young folks we're going to have come up here and speak, but those are losses that we've got to have a policy where we can close that gap, because one time when your production has to be 133% of your 10-year average to break even, you don't have to be an accountant to know that's not sustainable. And so we're in a position now where we've got to figure out how to close that gap between what our cost of production is and where we are. A big part of that everybody is going to talk about today is cotton policy. I'm not going to go into talking about that. I let my friends around do that. What I will say is that I'm sorry the secretary's not here, because the price of cottonseed has been announced in the Rio Grande Valley. It's $120 a ton. Last year was $180 a ton. The year before it was $240 a ton. In simple terms, that equates to about $20 a bale, about 5 cents a lint pound. So rather than getting a check back for the sale of cottonseed like we did 2 years ago, or break even at the gin like we did last year, we're going to have a $20 ginning bill. So it doesn't matter if the price goes up a little on cotton if it's all eaten up by the loss in seed, by the loss in revenue from the seed.
We have to finish up.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, gentlemen.
Again, I would please try to limit it to 2 minutes. We have a lot of folks here today. Now we'd have Steve Fraze, the interim dean for the Texas Tech College of Agriculture, and Richard Thorpe, the Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers president.
Brian, why don't we, when Steve finishes, announce the next one. That way we don't have to wait for folks to walk up to the mic. That way just back and forth.
I can do it. Steve?
Good afternoon, Chairman Conaway and members of the House Ag Committee. I'm Steve Fraze, currently serving as the interim dean of the College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources, also known as CASNR at Texas Tech University. Since Tech's beginning in 1923, the college has provided programs of excellence in teaching, research, and public service to prepare students for employment in a modern agricultural industry. In the original charter for Texas Tech, the charge for the college was to conduct research in agriculture beneficial for our producers with a focus on natural fibers and animal production. CASNR's research program receives national and global recognition for excellence in the discovery and delivery of knowledge on current and emerging aspects of the food and fiber industry. Other major research thrusts are biotechnology, precision agriculture, sustainable land and water use, food safety, security, and quality, animal health, nutrition and welfare, processing and value-added products, natural resource management and planning, agricultural marketing, trade and policy analysis, human and social capital, and international agricultural development. CASNR promotes and supports multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and interinstitutional research programs. CASNR is the leading non-land grant agricultural university in the United States with programs awarding 11 baccalaureate, 11 master's, and 6 doctorate degrees in agricultural sciences and natural resources. We are the #1 non-land grant university in terms of agricultural research and second in student numbers. Being a non-land grant, we understand the importance of funding such as the non-land grant capacity building grants in the Farm Bill, as well as other competitive NIFA grants for the purpose of keeping the infrastructure for research state-of-the-art and viable in our research laboratories and farms. CASNR research programs address real-world issues faced by producers, processors, and consumers of food, fiber, and other natural resources. CASNR research supports programs contributing to the local and regional workforce, sustainable economic and social development, and growth. We are positive for the future of agriculture through research and working with this committee in our endeavors. Thank you.
Richard?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for being here. And
Also, I'd like to, hold on just a second. Rick Boyd from First United Bank, if you would come up now. Sorry, Richard.
You bet. Thank you guys for being here. I'm Richard Thorpe. I am president of the Texas Southwestern Cattle Raisers. You know, many ranchers and cattlemen have farmland. Likewise, a lot of farmers own cattle. So we're all linked in many ways to the land and each other, being one and the same. Today, I'm speaking on behalf of the cattle industry. And there's several important things in the Farm Bill that are very important to the cattle industry. First, we need a really strong research title. And we've seen over the past couple of Farm Bills, research has been pulled back in money, and we need this to be competitive. We have emerging diseases. We need production, research, a lot of different things. Second, we need a strong conservation title. I think everyone here, the one that brings the most mind is the EQIP program, where the rancher, farmer leverages their money, usually 50% with the federal government, on some improvement. I want to talk about just my personal experience with the EQIP program. And it works on a point system. And the point system is the more points you get, the better chance you have of getting awarded a federal EQIP contract. So if you build a stock tank or pond, that's a point. If you build a terrace for water diversion or soil erosion, that's a point. If you do brush control, a point. If you do seeding, a point. If you do rainfall gathering, a point. The list goes on and on and on. So basically, in a nutshell, the more money you're willing to spend or put out, the more points, the better chance you have of getting an EQIP program. But what if you just want to build a stock tank or pond on your place? That's all you need. Or that's the only money you've got budgeted for. Your chances of getting the E-Quip program are pretty nil. I live in Reynolds County, just north of here. There was $264 awarded to the county for E-Quip this year. They awarded 8 contracts, and more than 90 people got nothing. So we need to look at changes where this can be more people are allowed to use it that have limited needs or limited financial resources. Third, we need a strong animal health program. We got a foot and mouth disease problem in South America. Our vaccine bank, the vaccine is expired. We got to build that back up. We all know the virus, foot and mouth disease virus, can travel on fresh and frozen beef. And we do receive a lot of beef from South America to supply the hamburger needs of our nation. So it puts us at risk. As Russell Bainick talked about earlier, we also want to talk about fever ticks. Fourth, we got to maintain a strong export market. You know, the NAFTA deal alone is almost $1 billion market each for Canada and Mexico. It's huge. And, you know, and right now Japan is a $1.6 billion market. And yet they turned around and just recently announced they're going to up their tariff from 39% to 50% on our frozen beef coming in. That's going to hit our producers in the pocketbook because, you know, right now the export market's about 13% of the animal. That accounts to about $150 a calf, over $300 for the finished animal in everybody's pocket. You bet. Last, I don't want to forget the disaster assistant programs. We had the wildfires in Panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. A lot of cattle died. The livestock indemnity program, very important to those people to help get back on their feet, as well as livestock forage program and the NAP programs. Sorry. Thank you all very much for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Thorpe. Benny Cox, if you would come up. Rick Boyd.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. Thank you all for being here. My name is Rick Boyd. My name is Rick Boyd with First United Bank out of Lubbock, Texas. We're about $1.2 billion bank and carry about $800 million in loans at all times, and about half of that is related to agriculture. So we're knee-deep in it and have been for quite a few years. I'm also associated with the Southwest Council of Agribusiness and have been associated with them since the inception, and represent, as one of 2 members, represent the financial institutions on that board. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about the current status of the banking world. I'm not going to spend much time on the insurance product. That's a given that we have to have that now. There was a time when we could loan against hard collateral in the ag world, but as time has moved on, we've had to start lending against growing crops, and that just definitely means we have to have a good, sound insurance program. As far as the current status of loans today, I don't think it's in a critical state right now, but we are seeing more carryover loans in the last few years than we have in probably the last 10 years. And when I mean carryover, that means the guy didn't pay out from last year. And when he doesn't pay out from last year, we have to go in and rework his land notes and rework his equipment notes. And we're about at the point that we've about done all we can do. It's really necessary this year for farmers to perform. And they need a strong farm bill to do that, especially in cotton. It needs to get back to Tier 1 status, where the banks can count on some regular, steady income from the production. So that's really about all I have today to give you an update. Be glad to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Rick. Julie Davis Holliday with Plains Cotton Growers, if you come up. Benny?
Chairman Conaway and members of the committee, my name is Benny Cox. I'm a local sheep rancher, actually past president of Texas Sheep and Goat Raisers and now vice president of the American Sheep Industry, and also am manager of the largest sheep and goat auction in the nation. I'm here to talk about priorities for the sheep industry and the Farm Bill. We strongly support the Food and Drug Administration's minor use animal drug program and its historic collaboration with the USDA's National Institute of Food and Agriculture. We urge the creation of a mechanism for funding and minor use animal drug research. Wool Marketing Assistance Loan and Loan Deficiency Payment Program has been a loan risk management tool for sheep producers in the Farm Bill. In 2014 Farm Bill, it authorized non-recourse marketing assistance loans and loan deficiency payments for wool to eligible producers. The program currently relies on production and expenses in markets of 2 decades ago. So we encourage an update in reference to price and reauthorization, foot and mouth disease, and vaccine bank. While we must do everything we can to eliminate the risk of reintroduction of foot and mouth disease, we also need to be prepared for an outbreak. National Sheep Industry Improvement Center and Sheep Production and Marketing Grant Program. The National Sheep Industry Improvement Center was originally established in the Farm Bill of 2008. And we support inclusion in this Farm Bill with mandatory funding. Continued strength in international marketing of lamb and wool requires a commitment of the promotion to export markets through strong USDA foreign agricultural service and program funding. Mandatory price reporting for lamb industry under USDA is in real need of new guidance to address confidentiality. We hope that USDA can solve this administratively, but if not, this committee may look for or review new language for this farm bill. We appreciate the support of this committee, and I'd add one final note. USDA will be considering analysis on the M44 coyote control in September. I encourage an active role by this committee in any resulting decision. We estimate that 40% of the coyote control in Texas uses this tool, and USDA Wildlife Services insists that 60% of all kills of sheep and lambs and goats are because of coyote. Thank you.
Thank you, Benny. If Lindsay Bowers would come up. Julie Holliday.
Good afternoon, Chairman Conaway, Ranking Member Peterson, and members of the committee. I'm Julie Davis Holliday, a fourth-generation farmer. My husband, daughter, and I produce cotton and peanuts on 10,000 acres of family-owned and rented land in Dawson and Martin counties on the South Plains of Texas. We irrigate approximately 30% of those acres, leaving the remaining cropland dependent upon rainfall for production. In the past 3 years, the U.S. farm economy has experienced the steepest decline since the Great Depression, effectively a 50% decline in net farm income. Like most U.S. producers, our operation reflects this downturn. We farm to support our family, the families of 5 employees, and the many landowners whose land we bring value to every day. As a family business, we continue to manage through the challenges presented by climate, adverse market conditions, and rising input costs, while shouldering the environmental responsibility of our operation and many others globally. Like many cotton producers, we meet all these demands while our cash position is rapidly diminishing and our equity continues to erode as long as we are excluded from a place in Title I policy. Our direct farm inputs support the local, national, and multinational companies which have a profitable impact for many far beyond those of us in the fields of West Texas. With the minimal federal support, producers and rural communities multiply the impact of federal dollars to develop thriving local economies and community support systems. After 30 years of steady investment in and expansion of our operation, the safety net for cotton has been completely dismantled by negotiations beyond our control. Prices have declined while other countries have increased their subsidies at multiple levels. It is imperative that cotton be afforded the same safety net provided other commodities by inclusion in Title I of the Farm Bill. The level of support which we seek is not a windfall, nor a guarantee of profit. It merely provides stability in the farm economy to help most operations obtain financing and manage through periods of economic stress. Congressman Conaway, Ranking Member Peterson, members of the committee, thank you for traveling here today and affording all of us the opportunity to share our perspective.
Thank you, Ms. Holliday. David Weaver for South Plains Food Bank, come up. Okay. Ms. Bowers.
Howdy, I'm Lindsay Bowers from Inez, Texas, a little town near Victoria on the Texas Gulf Coast. My husband and I farm corn, grain sorghum, and catfish. Agriculture is our family's way of life, as well as my personal profession. I merchandise grain for the largest cooperative on the Gulf Coast. From being a farmer myself and working with them every day on marketing decisions, our primary concern is ensuring revenue above cost of production. Last year of the corn handled at the co-op, the average net dollars that producers took home were $2.70 per bushel on corn. producers averaged about 120 bushel per acre on corn, making net returns $324 per acre. Assuming an average cost of production on corn to be about $4.75, an average producer lost more than $150 per acre. Yields were average, and crop insurance didn't assist the majority of these producers. And for certain, I know, it didn't assist our personal operation. With math like this, it's getting continuously harder to get financing, and for that financing to be at affordable interest rates. Right now, it's challenging simply for our current farmers to keep making it, but much less for young farmers to get started. The initial capital investment to get started in farming is significant, coupled with the ability to pick up land, and it's impossible for a young person to start farming without having an operation transition to them. Going forward in the next Farm Bill, I believe it's critical that we provide adequate price protection for farmers by way of addressing more realistic cost of production and updating yields and base. Also, we need to maintain affordable crop insurance and oppose any limitations of crop insurance that would discourage participation. Especially in our area where we face extreme weather conditions, a yield exclusion provision is necessary to allow producers to exclude low yields when the county experiences a significant weather event. The Farm Bill should be a living document that provides adequate and stable support for our farmers who are faced with changing farming environment depending on the marketing conditions, where you farm, what the weather is doing, technological advancements, and increasing cost. I appreciate each of your time today and look forward to continuing to feed our family and yours.
Thank you, Ms. Bowers. Brad Booma with Select Milk Producers President, come forward. David.
Thank you for hosting this listening session today. My name is David Weaver. I'm the CEO of the South Plains Food Bank in Lubbock, Texas, a position I've held for the past 20 years. The South Plains Food Bank is a part of Feeding America and Feeding Texas. We partner with churches and social service agencies in Lubbock and the 19 surrounding counties to feed food insecure families. Last year, we assisted 57,000 unduplicated adults. We also work here in San Angelo with the Concho Valley Regional Food Bank to cover an additional 15 counties, serving an additional 20,000 food insecure individuals. We mainly serve rural counties, seeing firsthand rural poverty and food insecurity. Rural communities have fewer opportunities for people to make a living, so young people move away. Businesses close because they lack customers. Seniors who are teachers or business leaders in their communities have retired and may now live on low fixed incomes. Churches struggle as their membership declines. Many who remain in these communities work low wages at farms. They get by until there is a crop failure or their jobs are dissolved as farms become more mechanized. When that happens, they turn to our local food pantries where we distribute TFAP commodities and other donated foods. Many of our rural partners are no longer able to host pantries, so we have established 28 mobile pantry sites. Clients are pre-screened before food distribution to ensure they meet qualifications for means-based federal programs like TFAP. School groups, service organizations, and church volunteers show up to help us load food boxes into clients' cars. But what really breaks my heart is when we have 100 families that we've screened to provide food for, and 110 families show up. USDA programs such as TFAP Commodities, CACFP, Summer Food Service, the Commodity Supplemental Food Service Program, and SNAP-Ad Nutrition are vital. The quantity and the quality of food directly impacts our ability to serve food insecure families. More people in our area would suffer from food insecurity without these programs. Our mobile pantry lines would grow even longer. I urge you to examine how we can collectively address the challenges of food insecurity, particularly in rural areas, in the next Farm Bill. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Weaver. Mr. Bauma. Cody Carson, National Sorghum Cotton Producer, or Sorghum Producer.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Peterson, thank you for being here. It's great to represent the dairy industry today. I'm a sixth-generation dairy farmer. I have two places in the panhandle of Texas with my son in Jody's district, and dairy in Indiana and Ohio as well. So it's we currently, with DFA, our partners, are investing $750 million in infrastructure from southwest Kansas all the way down into Littlefield, Texas. Construction's underway as we speak, and this is the fastest growing region in the United States as far as the dairy industry is concerned. So it's a vital, vibrant, growing prospect in our part of the world. The biggest issue we face today in the dairy industry is labor. We cannot find enough people in Plainview, Texas, DeMott, Indiana, or anywhere else that will milk cows. And the H2A system that we currently operate under does not work for the dairy industry. It doesn't work for the cattle feeders, our colleagues. It doesn't work in a lot of places. And an overhaul of that is absolutely necessary for us to be able to continue to expand and grow our businesses as we would like to in the future. Mr. Goodlatte's, Chairman Goodlatte's H2C program that he's rolled out in a draft form addresses a lot of things. It's the best thing we've seen in a long, long time. So we would certainly ask that you all would get behind that and help us to work with the judiciary committees and get these things pushed through, because it's just a critical piece of our industry. MPP works in some ways and doesn't in others. We're clearing our markets with 86-cent powder today instead of stockpiling it with the CCC, and that's a good thing. We're developing new markets around the world that the U.S. wouldn't have access to if we didn't have the MPP program today. But the formulas don't work. And as my colleague said, there's not a dairyman in the country virtually collecting on what they paid into the MPP. And we need to take a look at the programs and the formulas as they get there. Large producers like myself and that I represent at Select have access to tremendous amounts of different hedging platforms, different ways of spreading our risk. The smaller producers in this country don't have the same access we do. And we appreciate that and understand that there's probably something that's going to have to be done to conquer in order to get this bill where it needs to be in order to make that happen. We respect that. The environmental side of our business is we believe we can do with a market-based solution. We need some tax credits to get that done, and we think there's a ton of potential to be able to work. We've already met with EPA, Mr. Pruitt. We've met with Mr. Perdue. We think there's some numerous ways to work together on a market-based solution to some environmental things, but the tax credits are imperative for that to happen.
Thank you, Mr. Baumann.
And lastly, NAFTA is critical. We got hosed by Canada in the first round, and Mexico is our largest customer. So thank you.
Thank you. Richard Gauna with the Rolling Plains Cotton Growers be next. Mr. Carson.
Chairman Conaway, Ranking Member Peterson, other members of Congress, thank you all. On behalf of West Texas farmers, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to come down here today and listen to us. I know if you're from Minnesota or Carolina, it looks just like you're at home, but there are a few differences. So, my name is Cody Carson, and I farm near Olton, Texas, about 3 miles north of here. I grow sorghum, corn, cotton, wheat, edible beans, sunflowers, and cattle. I currently serve on the National Sorghum Producers Board of Directors. One of the focal points that I think we have to look at on the next farm bill is the need to continue the strong commodity title. I personally use PLC and ARC both on different crops, and the PLC program is working as it should in years of high crop prices, very little expenditure, and on years like last year, it was a fantastic safety net for commodities. As you evaluate the options for Title I, I would ask to remember cotton, and also I would like to see a strong PLC program continued, and I think it would work well to have the ARC program provide a little better continuity from county to county, especially up in the Texas Panhandle. There's some great disparities just right across the county line in the way the ARC is working. Crop insurance is a critical component of my farming operation. However, sorghum does have some unique challenges from an insurance standpoint. A full 19% of U.S. sorghum production in the U.S. is not insured because of the cost to buy up is just too prohibitive. I would like to see an equitable insurance program for the sorghum industry, and I would like to see our Title I programs and the insurance work well together. I think it would put my banker's mind more at ease to have that safety net. Hey, Tim. We as farmers have to continue to be good stewards of the land. whether it's wind erosion or better wildlife habitat. Sorghum is a great crop for this on so many levels, and I would ask that language in the conservation title fully recognize these benefits. And finally, in the interest of time, I know it doesn't hold the same focus today as what it did, but I believe a streamlined energy title could continue to be extremely helpful for corn and sorghum producers and for our biofuel customers. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Carson. Tony Deal with Western Peanut Growers. Mr. Gauna.
I'm Richard Gauna, husband of Judy Gauna. We farm together in Fisher County, where we raise cotton, wheat, Sudan hay, grass hay, and have a cow-calf farming operation. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on issues that are important to us. As president of Rolling Plains Cotton Growers, I would like to give you a quick overview of the crop and financial situation on the Rolling Plains. I compare it to the Clint Eastwood movie, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. We've had drought, hail, low commodity prices, and a sandblasting, which has created a lot of debt. This is where we are with the current farm bill. To get West Texas cotton farmers through till the next farm bill is approved, cotton farmers and ag lenders would appreciate a cotton ginning assistance payment and the designation of cottonseed for the 18 crop to help offset the carryover debt. Because of drought and national disasters in West Texas, there is a need for immediate corrections to crop insurance. APH, where YE is being used, there is no cup or floor. We ask for a timely and strong farm bill that includes cotton in Title I programs. Affordable crop insurance is also very important. Farmers, ag lenders, equipment dealers, everyone involved in agriculture agrees that crop insurance should remain a viable and affordable tool for managing risk. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gauna. Jewel Richmond will be up next. Mr. Deal.
Thank you, Chairman Conaway and Ranking Member Peterson and the rest of the House Ag Committee. Thank you for being here today and listening to what our growers have to say. My name is Tony Deal. I represent Western Peanut Growers. I represent all the peanut growers in West Texas. We are very thankful for the 2014 peanut provisions that was included in the Farm Bill. They offer our farmers a price floor and stability. Almost all of our peanut growers are also cotton growers. Most of our growers grow 75% cotton and 25% peanuts. As you've already been heard today about the cotton program that was out of Title I in the last Farm Bill, we're asking that it would be included in the next Farm Bill. It will also help our growers. In my hometown of Brownfield, Texas, I have 5 young growers that have went out of business in the last 3 years because of mainly being cotton growers, and they financially cannot get loans. They don't cash flow, and it's a very severe issue in our county and in West Texas and in the whole country. I'm also a third-generation farmer. I farm 600 acres of peanuts and 2,800 acres of cotton. My son is also farming along with me, and I see no future in our country if we don't do something to help our young farmers get established. A lot of us are living off of equity. A lot of us older growers, and these young farmers have no equity to get started on. The only way they have to get in is through their family, and it's hard to keep them going. Finally, I ask that the peanut provisions in the 14 Farm Bill be continued in the new Farm Bill, and I also ask that cotton be included in the new Farm Bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Deal. Grace Norman with the Texas Hunger Initiative. Mr. Richmond.
Chairman Conaway, Ranking Member Peterson, other committee members, we appreciate the opportunity to be here today. And today I'm representing the National Association of Conservation Districts, serving as the chairman of the South Central region, representing Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, and Arkansas, and also served as a past president of our Association of Soil and Water Conservation Districts here in Texas. Today I'd like to address the Title II portion of the Farm Bill addressing conservation of our natural resources. The last Farm Bill significantly reduced the conservation title and conservation programs that are often reduced during the appropriation cycle. With this in mind, our state Soil and Water Conservation District and our National Association of Conservation Districts believe at a minimum no further cuts should occur in the conservation title to the Farm Bill. Every dollar reduced costs more in the long run due to increased resource concerns. Popular programs like EQIP are many producers' first introduction to conservation and must have robust funding. Additionally, the Small Watershed Rehab Program is vital to provide safety to the public from the flood prevention sites across our nation. I want to stress that locally led, voluntary, incentive-based conservation serves agriculture best. It provides flexibility to direct funds for local priorities. One size doesn't fit all across this diverse country that we live in. Conservation districts convene local working groups and they determine an area's most pressing resource concerns. This local aspect is key to having buy-in from local producers. This is the reason for local districts, and they were created almost 80 years ago. Not only have Farm Bill conservation programs been very successful using local input, but have provided wise use of taxpayer funds. The next Farm Bill must include a fix for the Sam Dunn's issue. This is a regulatory or regulation that is incredibly burdensome to the farmer and rancher that does nothing to increase transparency. NRCS concierge participants should have never been a target of this requirement, its purpose being for an entity providing goods and services to the government and not for carrying out a conservation program. NRCS. Okay.
15 seconds.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Alan Fuchs with St. Lawrence Cotton Growers, Grace Norman.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chairman Conaway, Ranking Member Peterson, and committee members for traveling to Texas and for allowing us the opportunity to provide input. I'm Grace Norman, and I am speaking on behalf of Baylor University's Texas Hunger Initiative. We operate 8 regional offices across the state and are consulting on a project in Oklahoma. We build coalitions, bringing people together to help communities think strategically, organizations work collaboratively, and programs function efficiently. I'm joined by Mary Herbert and Betty Teston of our San Angelo office and constituents of the 11th District. 48 million people in the U.S. are food insecure, as are 4.3 million Texans, including nearly 1 out of every 4 children in the state. A suite of programs, including those authorized in the Farm Bill, impact food insecurity and ultimately poverty. SNAP serves as a work support, supplementing wages to provide for steady household food budgets and has lifted 10% of SNAP households out of poverty nationally. Protecting SNAP is crucial to its continued success. Increasing access to SNAP is also important. In Texas, we built a network of community-based organizations, including faith-based organizations, libraries, hospitals, schools, and domestic violence shelters to help eligible Texans access an online benefits application. More access points to apply for SNAP have contributed to the 77% take-up rate in this state. Providing such support has increased SNAP access and is a contributing factor to a decrease in food insecurity in Texas. Coalitions see the importance of SNAP as a key resource in local economies and are working to build infrastructure to maximize impact. In Lubbock, a community coalition collaborated to bring Double Up food bucks to 7 markets and farm stands across the region. Through a combination of federal and private funding, communities are able to stretch SNAP dollars, offer an incentive for SNAP recipients to purchase nutritious foods, and expand the customer base of local farmers. In conclusion, finding creative ways to leverage SNAP funding can better serve families and decrease administrative burden. Protecting SNAP will decrease food insecurity, increase individual self-sufficiency, and afford more Texans a better quality of life. I'm grateful for your attention to and prioritization of the 2018 Farm Bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Norman. And David Clevenger, if you would come forward with the Texas Wheat Also going to let everyone know that I'm going to give you a 15 seconds you have left. We've ran over on every single speaker, so I'm going to have to coach you in. So 15 seconds when you're through, I'm going to talk to you.
How about I
it.
start early?
Okay, Alan,
No,
go
that's
ahead.
fine. Congressman Conaway, thank you so much. I don't really have anything prepared. I'm here as a representative of the St. Lawrence Cotton Growers Association, and I'm going to maybe speak more from the heart of what we've got going on now. When I got out of college, I came home and started farming 250 acres. And here, 19 years later, as a family, my dad was farming around 2,500. We farm harder and harder, need to be smarter and smarter, adopt technology, do whatever we can to stay afloat. We're running about 11,000 acres right now, getting up early, coming home late, and I have a boy that's 11 years old, and I would love nothing more as a fourth-generation farmer myself than to have him step into my shoes. And in the last 2 years, I've told my wife several times, I said, as hard as we work, I want that for him so bad, and at the same time, I don't. You know, just depending on days. So what I'm saying is that the NCC has a lot of good points. There's a lot of strong language they're lobbying for. I'm not going to go into that. It's all valid. On a local level, from our grower organization, and something that's maybe more localized, what I see is I'd really like to see some language in the Farm Bill on some base reallocation. In our area, we have a lot of land, raw land, pasture land, that we're dozing, that we're excavating, that we're putting into production. And as we see urban sprawl grow and towns grow and eat up these farms and land disappear, I would like to see a transfer of some of those base acres, or a reallocation, if you would like to call it that, go onto some of this new land where we're not asking for
15
more
seconds.
base acres put in the farm program, but just that some of those acres, some of those base acres be transferred. That would be it. Thank you, gentlemen.
Jim Lovell with the chairman, Texas Cattle Feeders Association. Mr. Clevenger.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm David Clevenger, serve on the Texas Wheat Board, also officer of the Southwest Council of Agribusiness, and I'll let our members and staff continue to work with your members and your members and staff on policy issues. Today I'd like to talk about very first farm bill I was involved with was in 1978. My father was in leadership in Texas Sugar Beet Growers Association. I was in college. I went to a farm bill hearing back then. You'll notice today in all your farm bill hearings, you're not going to hear from the Texas Sugar Beet Growers Association because they're here no longer. We were told that we can buy sugar cheaper from other countries. The consumer will benefit. We were paying 25 cents for a Coke, 10 cents for a candy bar. I went to the airport last week, $2.49 for a candy bar. My question to you is, who benefited? And through all those discussions, while I'm not here to represent sugar policy in any way, I want to point out the analogy of what's taking place here. You're going to have people come into your offices. They're going to be testifying before these hearings saying we don't need farm policy. The decision that you make as a committee will impact the people in this room. And 40 years from now, which 40 years ago was when 1978 was, there may not be commodity groups in this room if we don't have sound farm policy right now. So I would just encourage you each that it's important. Farm income is down 50%. These are real stories you're hearing today, and it's tough out there right now. So I would ask that each of you take this seriously, and I know you are, but go back, and when you get the naysayers in the room to say we don't need sound farm policy, remember the Texas Sugar Beet Growers is no longer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clevenger. J. Thomas Wynn with the U.S. Rice Producers Association. You'll come up. Mr. Lovell.
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, thank you for coming to Texas to hear our thoughts on the 2018 Farm Bill. My name is Jim Lovell, and I've been a cattle feeder for the past 32 years. And I'm also testifying as chairman of the Texas Cattle Feeders Association, where we represent cattle feeders and feed yards in Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico. TCFA members feed and market 6 million head of fed cattle a year. First and foremost, we do not want to see COOL, the GIPSA rule authorization language, or a packer ban in the Farm Bill. The inclusion of COOL and GIPSA in the previous farm bills has cost our industry millions of dollars with no underlying benefit. Secondly, TCFA asks that you do not shift funds from the research title to pay for other programs. As you have heard, our industry is threatened by foot and mouth disease. We have current vaccine at Plum Island that's obsolete, and we need a vaccine bank that's prepared for 32 strains of foot and mouth disease. If we have an outbreak of FMD, some models estimate that the economic impact will be in excess of $50 billion. That's with a B. We must act now, and we cannot wait till the disease is here. TCFA also supports maintaining a strong conservation title. However, the AGI limit is a concern. We need to get more large landowners to participate in EQIP, as they are often disqualified because of business structure or other revenue. While not directly on the Farm Bill, TCFA appreciates the committee's efforts to ensure that NAFTA negotiations first do no harm to agriculture. TCFA supports the modernization of the agreement without eroding market access and scientific standards that NAFTA has provided for U.S. beef. Today, Mexico and Canada are two of our best export markets for U.S. beef. In addition, TCFA supports the continuation of the Market Access Program and Foreign Market Development Program. These programs help fund the U.S. Meat Export Federation, which is our lead entity in marketing U.S. beef to our global trading partners. We would sincerely appreciate any help you can give ag producers with the significant labor shortage that we are dealing with. A workable guest worker program is truly needed.
15 seconds.
Thank you again for being here and listening to our thoughts on the 2018 Farm Bill. And we will submit some comments for you later.
Thank you, Mr. Lovell. Eric Craven for Texas Electric Cooperatives. Mr. Wynn.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to address you today. My name is Thomas Wynn. I'm a sixth-generation farmer and grow rice on my family's diversified farm in Egypt, Texas. Although I'm currently in the middle of harvesting corn, this opportunity to provide testimony on behalf of rice farmers and in my capacity as vice chairman of the board of the U.S. Rice Producers Association and sitting member of the Texas Rice Council was too important to forego. The USRPA is a national organization representing rice farmers in Arkansas, California, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, and Texas. It's the only national rice producer organization comprised of producers, elected only by producers, and representing only producers. We strongly represent reauthorization of the Farm Bill. Producers need the ability to rely on long-term certainty in farm policy in order to obtain financing, make investment decisions, and maintain long-term profitability. U.S. rice producers are facing historic downturns in price, averaging 10-year lows in the industry with a forecast price of $10.50 per hundredweight for the current year. Exacerbating this difficulty is the rising level of input costs to historic highs, which has cut the net farm income dramatically. The safety net of price protection provided through the Farm Bill is critical to farmers in these times. The PLC program has proven to be an effective tool to protect farmers during multi-year price declines. Long-grain producers like myself saw drops in prices below the reference price after the 2014 and 2015 crop years. USRPA strongly supports maintaining the current Farm Bill PLC commodity programs. The PLC program has generally worked as intended, but two issues we feel should be examined. The first is the timing of the PLC program. Program payments need to be improved in order to assist growers securing financing. USRPA supports authorizing a partial advance of PLC program payment to help cover input costs and secure financing for the crop ahead. In addition, my fellow rice producers in California would like to discuss the need to examine and update the reference price for their specialized japonica rice. Crop insurance has not been as an effective risk management tool for rice as it has been for other crops due to irrigated nature. However, we do support efforts to improve crop insurance and hope we combine them to other coverage options. We support continuing to look at international trade agreements, especially as they are beneficial to the United States, with the focus that they do no harm. And we look forward to working with the committee to help find a more effective farm policy in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wynn. Richard Pelzel with the Southern Rolling Plains Cotton Growers. Mr. Craven.
Good afternoon, Chairman Conaway, Ranking Member Peterson, members of the committee. I'm Eric Craven with Texas Electric Cooperatives. I'm here today on behalf of the 75 Generation Transmission Distribution Electric Co-op serving Texas. We serve approximately 3 million consumers in the state, and we serve in 241 of the 254 counties in Texas. The Farm Farm Bill is very important to electric co-ops and our member consumers. Two things in particular. One, the RUS loan program that enables us to continue to maintain and modernize the important electric infrastructure necessary for the development in rural Texas and rural America. And second of all, the Red Leg Loan Program, which helps fund rural hospitals and other community development initiatives. This committee has consistently been strong supporters of rural America, and our folks appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Craven. Blair Fitzsimmons from Texas Agricultural Land Trust. Mr. Pelzel.
My name is Richard Pelzel. I'm a fourth-generation farmer here in the Concho Valley. I grew up on a family farm, and my operation consists of cotton and wheat, and I've been farming for 40 years. Mr. Chairman, I would like to thank you for having this listening session, and I would like to thank you and other committee members who have been so supportive of the cotton industry. I think as we look forward to the next Farm Bill, we have to be focusing on trying to get cotton and our cotton seed into Title I, and we also we so desperately need to keep the crop insurance as we have it subsidized at the current levels that we have. I also would like to address conservation programs a little bit. I've always had a love for the land, and these programs have allowed me to not only control the erosion, but to also increase the productivity and to make the land better for future generations. I've used the EQIP program to carry out many conservation practices on my farm. Now, I've also participated in the CSP program. While the financial incentive helps to defray the expense of implementing this program, I do think there's some areas that could use some changes. One area that could be improved is to exempt the NRCS from requiring producers who participate in these cost share programs to obtain and keep and update SAM's number. And also the Duns and Bradstreet number, but the SAM's number is particularly difficult because we have to renew that number every year. And also, when you participate in the CSP program, you have to choose enhancements that you agree to implement on your farm. And as I review these, I find that a lot of these are geared more to the higher rainfall areas and don't really pertain to the environmental conditions where I live. So
Richard, 10 seconds.
An added benefit would be to have enhancements that are more compatible with what we do here. These conservation programs have become an integral part of my operation, and many others as well, and we need to keep them around. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you today.
Thank you, Mr. Pelzel. Blair Tim McDonald from Ag Texas. Ms. Fitzsimmons.
Welcome, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member Peterson, and members of the committee. My name is Blair Fitzsimmons, CEO of the Texas Agricultural Land Trust, founded by leaders from two organizations that you've heard from today, Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers, Texas Farm Bureau, and several others, who are concerned that Texas is losing her agricultural lands at a faster rate than any other state in the country. Today, the Texas Ag Land Trust holds conservation easements on 226,000 acres of productive farm and ranch land around the state. I'm here today to ask for your support for the Agricultural Conservation Easement Program found in the conservation title, also known as ACEP. As you know, a conservation easement is a voluntary tool, voluntary financial incentive that permanently protects agricultural productivity. The ACEP program is vitally important for states like Texas, where agriculture has a $100 billion annual economic impact. I ask that you consider maintaining funding at the current funding level of $500 million a year. Demand for ACEP continues to outstrip available funding as ag lands around the country are threatened by development. Secondly, I ask that you consider removing the cash match requirement, the biggest impediment to using the program here in Texas. Currently, ACEP requires a match of 50% of the easement value. If the landowner were able to donate that value, it would greatly accelerate the protection of ag lands and greatly leverage the federal government's investment. As you consider these and other requests that we will submit in writing, please keep in mind that the benefits of protecting ag lands go far beyond the fence line. Water, for example. A recent Texas A&M study showed that the state's own one-time investment of $2 million in conservation easements protected approximately $11.5 million of water values. These are watersheds, rivers, streams.
10 seconds.
On an annual basis. A significant benefit for a state that is faced with significant population growth and demands for water. Thank you for your attention and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Fitzsimmons. Wade Cowan, American Soybean Association. Mr. McDonald.
Chairman Conaway, Ranking Member Peterson,
Tim,
Mr.
step
Arrington,
up to the microphone a little bit better. There you go.
and all the other members. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for the opportunity. My name's Tim McDonald. I'm CEO of Ag Texas Farm Credit Services. I'm also here representing the Southwest Council of Agribusiness. At Ag Texas, we finance, directly originate and service about $2.3 billion in loans throughout the Panhandle, South Plains, and Central Texas. From the other testimony that you've heard today, it's no surprise that our farmers are struggling. We need to find ways as agricultural lenders to stay with existing customers and overcome barriers of entry for new farmers getting into the business. One of the tools that we have at our disposal is the FSA Guaranteed Loan Program. That program has been utilized very effectively by Farm Credit and other commercial lenders. However, it has a cap today of approximately $1.4 million. That is not enough to cover even an average-sized farm and ranching operation. We need to see that cap increased, and when it's increased, we need to see it indexed to the funding for the program so that we have a large enough bucket to cover the needs that are out there. This will give us another tool that we can utilize to help keep farmers and ranchers in business, and again, overcome barriers of entry for new farmers getting into the business. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. Libby Campbell with the West Texas Food Bank. Mr. Cowan.
Thank you. I'm Wade Cowan. I'm a 8th generation Texas farmer, 4th generation in West Texas. Thank you, Chairman Conaway, Ranking Member Peterson, members of the committee. I know I've spoke with many of you, and you know, and you hear from our D.C. office all the time about how we support PLC. We support ART. We support a lot of parts of the Farm Bill. But I'm here today to tell you about two things. One is that crop insurance for a lot of the people in West Texas that are highly diversified, such as myself, just doesn't work. I would be far better off with the subsidies that I get every year for my crop insurance to use it for irrigation technology, to use it for cropping technology and other things. And it would be very helpful then that I could pay the insurance level that I needed, and I wouldn't have to worry about government subsidy. The other thing that I think that we need to bring up, since you've got such a large gathering here, is that I'm an 8th generation farmer, and it breaks my heart to tell you that I don't think there'll be a 9th. Things are so tough, and as I speak to people across this country, they closed our Walmart in Brownfield, Texas, not to open a super Walmart, not to open something else. They closed it because they couldn't make any money. Things are very tough on the farm. You hear this a lot of time compared to the 1980s. I started farming in the 1980s. In the 1980s, in my small town where I graduated from, there were 16 of us. There's 3 left in the county. There's 2 left in agriculture, and that's because my wife and I live in the same house. We're facing that kind of devastation, and that's really a word that I've thought about, devastation, as we move forward with these young farmers. A young farmer, Tony Dill, talk about, Tony went to the same high school I did, about young farmers that are going out every day. Not farmers that came into farming and spent money on new equipment, very conservative young men that work hard, 16, 18, sometimes 24 hours to get their crop in and out. I ask you, as you look at this next farm bill, to not treat it as a zero-sum game as the Congressional Budget Office will. If you make a good farm
10
bill that
seconds.
helps all of agriculture, it will improve rural America, it will improve our local communities, and it will be a net positive to rebuild America again. Thank you.
Colton Snedeker, Texas FFA. Ms. Campbell.
Hi, my name is Libby Campbell, and I'm actually the Executive Director for the West Texas Food Bank. We serve 19 counties of West Texas, which is equivalent to 34,000 square miles, which is about the same size as the state of Maine. So I ask all of you guys, thank you so much for coming to West Texas and visiting us out here. The West Texas Food Bank, we are a little isolated. We have a very kind of small metro area compared to other large urban centers of Midland, Odessa, and we drive a lot. We spend a lot of time on the road. We've had to be very creative on ways that we get food to our clients who need them. We serve over 44,000 unduplicated clients, so we do a lot of time on the road. We go all the way where there is no cell service and you have to stand on rocks, so we've had to do a lot of mobile pantries. We've had to think of ways to bring education. The way that we end the cycle of poverty is through education. There are lots of different programs that are inside the Farm Bill that actually help us be able to do what we do every day. We also couldn't do what we do every day without all these people who are sitting in this room, and we all work together to battle poverty in our country. There are so many things in there that affect us in West Texas, and we have been able to bring together private-public partnerships to make us be able to bring more food to our counties that we serve. SNAP is important. It helps bridge a gap. We also have SNAP education, where we're teaching classes every day to kiddos. We also depend heavily on our commodities program, which is TFAP to us. It's a huge resource. We also depend heavily on our growers who give us all their ugly fruits and vegetables that we're able to give out to our clients who need them. And also we depend on a lot of help of everyone working together. We've brought together many different charitable and foundations to help support what we do, but we couldn't also bridge those gaps without the help of you guys on this committee. So I just want to say thank you so much for coming out here and listening to us, but also think about all the transportation dollars, all the jobs that you provide, all the economic impact that you're actually creating by helping out people who have trouble finding ways to feed themselves. But listening to all of our farmers and growers and hearing what's going on out there in the ag community really hurts my heart, because we see so much of rural America, of what we serve every day within the food banking industry. To think about the struggles that they're facing directly affects more clients that we're going to have to serve. So cuts that you guys may make will directly affect where food banks are going to have to figure out another way to bridge that gap, and we depend on you to help already bridge that. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. Timothy Gertson, Texas Rice Producers. Mr. Snedeker.
Mr. Conaway, you asked at a hearing not long ago for FFA members to share their ag story, and so here I am. My name is Colton Snedeker from the Fredericksburg FFA chapter. I represent the Area 7 Association as the state Texas FFA state vice president. However, my journey didn't really start there. I remember walking into the halls of the ag building my freshman year, and I was introduced and encouraged to get involved and to sink my teeth into the opportunities the program harvested, and so I did. I was asked to run for chapter office, and my nervous self put myself out there, and I was elected as a chapter FFA, my FFA chapter's treasurer. And with that opportunity came a different one, to go on a full-ride scholarship to Washington, D.C. as a Washington Leadership Scholar. And while I was there, I got to see the Smithsonian and the White House, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and it was really awesome to see my two different passions of FFA and political legislation collide. And so while I am here to share my FFA story, I'm also here to tell you and ask you to continue to invest in the future of agriculture. As FFA members, in the state of Texas, there's over 120,000 of us, and nationwide 635,000. And we are future voters, and we want to be civically engaged. However, with those jobs that you're creating, we are the ones that are going to be taking over those jobs and to be making the future of agriculture and to continue to feed, fuel, clothe, shelter, and keep America competitive. I ask you to consider opening up a position in the Secretary's office for a youth coordinator position so that we can continue to feed, fuel, clothe, and compete as Americans. Thank you.
Thank you, Thank you, Colton. Stacy Whitener with the Pecan Grove Farms in Brownwood. Mr. Kurtzen.
Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member Peterson, Congressman, thank you for lending your ears to the concerns and suggestions of the producers and agribusinesses here today. My name is Timothy Gertson, and I'm 32 years old. I'm a fifth-generation rice farmer from Lissy, Texas. I'm here to tell you that for rice farmers, the 2014 Farm Bill worked well. I started farming on my own 9 years ago and benefited from a rice market that had me operating in the black from the get-go. Prices ranged from $16 to $18. But as anyone in agriculture knows, the good times don't last. Over the last couple of years, I've sold most of my rice between $10 and $12, well below the $14 reference price. But I'm here to tell you that the PLC safety net worked. Did we have to tighten our belts for a few years? Yes. But this young farmer is still in business, and I'm still actively growing my operation. And thankfully, the rice market's now on the upswing, and my farm survived. I want to transition now to conservation programs. The rice industry strongly supports working lands programs like EQIP and CSP. These programs help conserve our natural resources while also equipping rice farmers to operate their farms more efficiently. The land stays in production, and the money paid out isn't piling up in a farmer's bank account. The money is immediately injected back into the local economies to pay contractors and laborers to implement the new practices. I wanted to give a quick anecdote which describes how important everything I just said is. Back home, we are right in the middle of rice harvest. My family never works on Sundays. I can remember 3 times in my whole life that we've ever worked a Sunday, and 2 of them were because of hurricanes. My family worked yesterday. It's all hands on deck on the farm, but my dad and my cousins, we all know how important this farm bill is, and they covered for me, and I drove 5 hours to represent our industry. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Gertson. Michael Ballou with Texas Tech University. Ms. Widener.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Stacy Whitener. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer for Pecan Grove Farms. We are one of the top 10 largest growers of pecans in the state. My journey in agriculture actually started in California. I'm a born and raised Californian. Just moved to Texas in 2011. So when you guys go to California, please listen to them, because all of the bad stuff that happens that comes to the east starts in the west. So please listen to them. I have several friends. I'm very active over there. I'm also an active member of American Agri-Women, who a lot of you guys know. We travel to DC pretty frequently, and we advocate for agriculture all over the country. The 2 things that I would like to talk to you guys about, or 3 things I should say. I also worked for Farm Credit for a long time before I came over to Pecan Grove Farms. I was financing mega dairies in 2009, so I can appreciate how vital credit is, farm credit is, to the industries that we all serve. And I hope that we continue to support farm credit, and we continue to support credit going into agriculture. The second thing that I'd like to tell you is that I would also encourage you guys to make sure that we at least stay where we're at in crop insurance. My farms actually lost over 2 million pounds to hail last year, saved us, and it is the reason why we were able to bring an additional 15 jobs to Brownwood, Texas at the purchase of our last farm this year. So I would encourage you guys to continue to see not only what the great people of West Texas have to deal with in crop insurance, but also our specialty crops like I deal with in pecans. The last thing that I'd like to talk to you about is the water infrastructure and electrical infrastructure in rural areas. We have a farm in West Texas over near El Paso. I quite literally cannot get a phone to work, a landline to work in one of our areas over there that we have about 2,500 acres. And to get any electrical provider to come help us has been very difficult. We are in a unique situation, my company. We're an investor-backed company, and we have the ability to help and to provide some funds on the other side, to put some skin in the game. And we still can't get them to help us, nor with a solar project. So any help on the federal side, any listening sides, I would appreciate that. Our farms are always open to you guys if you always want to see what we deal with. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Dale Artho with Texas Grain Sorghum Association.
Chairman Conaway and members of the House Agriculture Committee. My name is Michael Ballou, and I'm one of the Associate Deans for Research in the College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources at Texas Tech University. I'd like to talk to you today a little bit about Texas Tech University, and specifically how Texas Tech University is a non-land grant college of agriculture, of which USDA identifies about 70 institutions as having research and outreach component to their institution. In states with one of these land grant colleges of agriculture, these institutions educate approximately 10% of the future workforce. A recent report from Purdue indicated from 2015 to 2020, there is going to be a deficiency in the number of graduates needed to fill new agriculture-related shortage of 39%. Another important characteristic of the large number of these institutions is they accommodate many underrepresented student groups, including first-generation students, minorities, and rural students. Further, these public institutions provide excellent translational research and outreach programs through their graduate studies and associated research efforts. In the 2008 Farm Bill, there was authorization for a competitive capacity building program for the non-land grant colleges of agriculture. And that program has funded projects since 2012 to purchase new research equipment, address relevant and emerging research areas, and educate students that will be the future workforce. The funding of this program at approximately $5 million per year is small in comparison to other capacity and competitive programs, but it's had significant impacts on improving research and education capacity at agricultural sciences and natural resource management programs. Increasing capacity at the non-land grant colleges of agricultural will increase output of trained workforce and support new and innovative research. Increasing the funding of the competitive capacity building program for non-land grant colleges and creating new innovative funding programs to incentivize the expansion of these institutions will be important strategies to expand our agricultural education and research efforts. Thank you.
No Villarreal with U.S. Citrus. Mr. Artho.
Gentlemen, Chairman Conway, Ranking Member Peterson, you guys know how important you are. You're our advocates. We live out here in the middle of the country, and it's how you set policy, how you sell what has to take place for rural America to thrive. And I just want you guys to know that you're in my prayers every day. You're in our thoughts. Each one of us is producers out here because you're our hope. And without you guys, we really don't get very far. But I also serve as a county commissioner, and I grow sorghum and corn and cotton, wheat, cattle. Matter of fact, I'll grow just about anything that'll make a buck and is legal, all right? And really the way some of the things are going, I know some guys are moving more towards the illegal stuff than the legal stuff just because they're wanting to survive. But in terms of infrastructure, do you know how important the farm program is to the infrastructure of the small county that I serve in? I mean, it's not only roads and bridges, but it's the monetary policy of our country. I mean, in the last 8 years, everything I've bought's doubled in price, and some things have tripled, but yet I'm selling at the same static price. So infrastructure in terms of what the Farm Bill is, it's critical to the survival of those of us who live in rural America. And those things, they benefit all Americans, not just rural America. But as a county commissioner, I want to tell you, 76% of our budget goes to support the sheriff, the courts for juvenile and adults, juvenile adult probation, and the jail. 76% of our budget. And a lot of that is driven by drugs. Gentlemen, we need your help. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Artho. Kirby Brown with Ducks Unlimited, and then we have a substitute, Dr. Manny Scaria, with a PhD with U.S. Citrus.
Thank you, Chairman Conway, Ranking Member Peterson, and respected members of the committee. My name is Manny Scaria. I come from the lower Rio Grande Valley of Texas. That is the proud place where grow the best citrus in Texas. I'm the founder and the president of the U.S. Citrus based outside of Hargill, Texas. It is 877 population. After retiring from Texas A&M University 5 years ago, I bought 550 acres of land to start my company. We are now the premier producer of the fastest growing citrus nursery trees and the nation's largest fruit grower of Persian limes. we have brought commercial Persian lime production into U.S. soil after a 15-year gap. It is all based on small micro-grafted innovation that I developed several years ago. As you assess the Farm Bill programs, I urge you keep 3 questions in mind. Number 1, are producers encouraged to expand domestic production of perishables? Imported products travel a long path. They undergo substantial chemical treatments to make them marketable healthy foods to U.S. consumers. That is what I have accomplished with the domestic production of Persian limes, the most highly consumed citrus product in the United States. Second, can federal programs do more to support innovation? At U.S. Citrus, we employ trade secret microbedding process that I created to expand the production of high-density planting, higher fruit yields, and faster harvesting times. Smaller scale growers like me are willing to help USDA in an advisory capacity to create ways to support research and development and innovation.
10 seconds.
Third, yes, are the financial programs keeping up with the times? I recently entered a supply chain agreement with the Blue Apron for U.S. citrus limes for their online orders. E-commerce phenomena is changing business structures all around us. I believe a review of how USDA programs adjust to changes is necessary. I invite all the respected members to Hargill, Texas to take a look at that one, how we can bring a healthy citrus industry in spite of citrus green today in this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Scaria. Chase Schuchard with Rolling Plains Cotton Growers. Mr. Brown.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, members, thank you for coming to San Angelo, wonderful community here. I've got a sister-in-law, brother-in-law here. My name is Kirby Brown. I'm from Austin, Texas, speaking on behalf of 50,000 members in Texas of Ducks Unlimited. I work with many of the ag groups in the room at the Texas Ag Council, some 60-plus ag groups in Texas, and am honored to also be a past chairman of that group at one point. Our country depends on privately owned farms, ranches, forests, and we thank you for standing up to America and our core values, which include agriculture and conservation. Passage of the last Farm Bill required trust, coalition building, compromise, and consensus among a broad diversity of groups and regions. And conservation programs in the Farm Bill are a key component of the safety net used by farmers and ranchers to maximize on-farm efficiency and productivity and to maintain soil health, water quality and quantity, and wildlife habitat on their lands. The conservation is in high demand here in Texas and across the country. And we and our partners respectfully ask that you and your colleagues help us strengthen support for the most efficient and important conservation programs in the Farm Bill. Do you support strong wetland and grassland protections? We support strong funding for working lands programs, the Regional Conservation Partnership Program. In Texas and our other rice states where wintering waterfowl basically are all in and around those rice components. DU and our partners at USA Rice, like Tim Gertzen, and USA Rice has been a great partner. And here in Texas, within RCS, we've been able to target RCPP investment on on-farm water efficiency and water quality for rice farmers while providing wintering waterfowl habitat benefits.
10 seconds.
We support the EQIP, the CSP, the ASEP, and this is a very popular program, and CRP programs with managed grazing opportunities. Thank you very much. We appreciate your help.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Jim Shurick with Texas Corn Grower out of Beeville. Mr. Shukar.
Good afternoon. My name is Chase Schuchard. I'm a cotton farmer from Roscoe, Texas. I met my wife at Texas A&M where we immediately, following graduation, moved to Memphis, Tennessee to pursue jobs in our college degrees. 3.5 years ago, we moved back to the farm to Roscoe, and we were fortunate, like most beginning farmers, that we were afforded the ability to farm through the generous sharing of knowledge and resources of my in-laws. In the beginning, our goal was simply just to make enough to get by, and we had hopes of starting a family. Now we just had a son who just turned 1, and we hope to be able to stay in Roscoe and raise our son where my wife grew up. This goal has been difficult because it's difficult to obtain financing and needed to to operate and acquire equipment needed to grow a crop. Now in our 4th year, we are attempting to grow our business as necessary to provide for our family. We have yet to see the favorable markets needed to build enough equity to sustain any future market downturns. I now more than ever acknowledge how critically important it is for cotton farmers to have a long-term safety net in the form of farm policy that provides price protection. As many of you are aware, the average age of American farmers is increasing every year. At this juncture, it's critical to have young families in farming. Speaking as a young farmer, it's absolutely necessary to include farming as a Title I commodity in the upcoming Farm Bill, as well as implement a ginning assistance program immediately in order to provide assistance and protection from any further worsening of market conditions. These policy decisions will help ensure my family's future and keep future generations on the farm. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shuker. Jim, be sure and turn that microphone up. It's be hard to hear you. There you go.
How about there? That work?
Good.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to come to San Angelo, Texas today. It means a lot. I farm 5 hours from here down on the coastal bend, about halfway between San Antonio and Corpus, all dry land. When we talk today about crop insurance, about base updates, I farm in an extremely variable environment. We're just as likely to fail a crop as we are to make a home run on any given year. And I don't think that's news to anybody in this room. The whole state is probably in the same boat when it comes to that. We absolutely need a chance to update our bases, update our yields when the next one comes around. In my local area, we've been through a couple of years of drought before the last one. And when you throw in 2 zeros into that 3-year period, it doesn't work for you. It makes ARC not work. It makes PLC not work. I think it's been said several times a day that my crop insurance is probably half of my cost of production. All it would take is 1 year of stumping my toe on 4,000 acres to, in that. We've talked a lot about Title I. Title II has been brought up several times today. I think that's extremely important. I think that's something we as farmers can sell to our end consumers, to the Walmarts, to the Krogers of the world. Sustainable agriculture is something that no matter what crop you're growing, that we can sell to those end users. EQIP, CSP are big time important in my world. I don't know that they're geared towards a dryland row crop farm. There seems to be a lot of silliness, to be honest, that has infiltrated that system. If you look at the current list of CSP practices, there's probably 40 of them, and I think maybe 2 would apply to a row crop farm, dryland. I can think of so many things that we're doing, variable rate prescriptions. We need to look hard at that. I think there's some gaps that need to be filled there. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Dale Rollins with the Rolling Plains Research Foundation, and also Eddie McBride with the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Congressman Conway, for this opportunity to speak. Respected members, in the short run, we appreciate the cool weather and the showers that you bring in the forecast for the next days. So we hope that you consider it a success in that respect. I'm speaking today on behalf of the National Bob White Conservation Initiative, NBCI, the Rolling Plains Quail Research Foundation, of which I serve as Executive Director, and the iconic Bob White quail, which I submit to you is as much as part of the American landscape as are windmills, spurs, and combines. Yet it tops the National Audubon Society's list of grassland birds in jeopardy. I refer to the Bob White as the canary of the prairie. It serves nicely as a surrogate for other species of national conservation concern like monarch butterflies, bumblebees, and other pollinators. The conservation title of the Farm Bill is a powerful tool in our effort to restore Bob Whites, but too often it works against us rather than for us, especially relative to the use of invasive exotic grasses, for example, Bermuda grass. Exotic plants generally provide poor habitat for many declining species of grassland wildlife, whereas native plants not only provide equal or superior benefits for soil conservation, water quality, carbon sequestration, and forage, but also provide excellent habitat for many of the declining species of birds and pollinators. I seek your support for modifications of the CRP and EQIP program to increase their utility for Bob White's on Farm Bill supported working lands. For CRP, the promotion of native vegetation, what we call natives first, over invasive exotic grasses whenever feasible. Recognize longitudinal differences in plant succession, or what several of our other people have said today. What works in Kentucky doesn't necessarily work in an 18-inch rainfall zone relative to mid-contract management of CRP lands. Allow prescribed grazing on CRP without penalty as regionally appropriate. Provide incentives for renewing existing or continuous CRP practices to include recognition of woody plants and wildlife-friendly forbs.
10 seconds.
Designate NRCS as the technical agency for the CRP instead of FSA. They're typically better trained relative to wildlife needs. And continue with the EQIP program and expanding quail focus areas here in Texas. We appreciate your support.
Thank you, Dr. Rollins. Ron Middlestat with Sweet Springs Winery. Mr. McBride.
Chairman Conaway, Mr. Peterson, members of the committee, and our good friend, Congressman Arrington. Thank you for the opportunity to come make the business case for agriculture today. My name is Eddie McBride. I'm the president and CEO of the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce, and I represent over 2,000 job creators and the 79,000 workers they employ in West Texas. The Ag Committee of the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce has been around since 1913, and since we began with that, obviously agriculture has been a huge part of our overall operations at the Chamber of Commerce for over 100 years. Chamber business leaders and members have been heavily involved with the agribusiness community and directly affected by their successes and struggles and your successes and struggles as well. We come before you today out of increasing concern for our cotton industry. Agriculture compromises 33% of our total economy in the Lubbock region, and about 80% of ag economic activity within 80 miles of Lubbock is directly tied to cotton production and processing. Producers in Texas and across the Cotton Belt are struggling with the effects of low prices, high input cost, weak demand, and growing competition from foreign producers who are heavily subsidizing, including India and China. Increasing cost of production combined with not only having a safety net for cotton during these low prices for both lint and seed is seriously jeopardizing their ability to stay in business. The thousands of family farmers who grow cotton in our area are in jeopardy without the safety net provided by Title I programs and the short-term assistance from Jennings Cotton Cost Share until cotton can be added back to Title I. We respectfully urge you to take action before the entire industry is lost and with the infrastructure and even the communities in rural areas. Agriculture truly is huge business in Lubbock, is a vital part of our economy. When times are tough for cotton, we all feel the effects, and that is why Lubbock business supports agriculture. Thank you very much for the privilege to have a chance to address y'all today, and thank you very much for coming here. We also, again, want to thank Angelo State for the opportunity Dr. May to be here as well. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. McBride. Ben Schultz with Texas Wheat Producers Association President. Mr. Middlestat.
Good afternoon. My name is Ron Middlestat. I am a farmer that has come in from, we came in from Germany in 1846, my family has. And I ended up in the grape industry, growing grapes in the wine industry. And recently I've come across a new product that is somewhat controversial, and I'd like to bring attention. I'm talking about hemp and the sense that how many things that hemp can be used for. And I want to bring to your attention that you would consider that as a product that brings attention, not only for the construction things for hemp, but also for the nutrition parts that hemp oil brings to the country. I'd like to see that that the people of the United States see that there is another commodity, another plant that can be grown throughout the United States that can bring dollars to the agriculture community. There's a lot of things to do in this country as far as growing things, but the hemp is outside the box. And I'd like you to consider that as one of the commodities. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Ben Schultz.
Good afternoon. My name is Ben Scholes. I live in Northeast Texas. Had the privilege to go to the same school that Chairman Conaway went to. And anyway, I grow crops of wheat, corn, and grain sorghum. And I'm serving leadership positions, as you just heard, with Texas Wheat Producers and also as treasurer of the National Association of Wheat Growers. But today I want to tell you my story as a farmer. With the drastic drop in prices today, the question stays in my mind as an industry leader is how can I and my fellow farmers stay in business? And I want to quickly run through three issues that I think are important to lead to this. Number one is crop insurance, and today I know you hear and probably heard 1,000 times that crop insurance is indispensable, and all I'm going to say here is it's absolutely true. The second issue is price protection. We've heard a lot about PLC today, but I'd like to lend this thought is last year wheat farmers across the country faced prices so low that the loan deficiency payments were triggered. We simply must continue to have adequate price protection from our wheat acres. I try to accomplish this through PLC and purchasing a revenue-based crop insurance policy. I will tell you now that the reference price in PLC will not always keep me in business. But equally important in my mind are efforts to market at least 50% of our wheat production overseas annually. I think we need to drastically increase funding for MAP and FMD funding so that we continue to reach and develop markets for our product. And third is most important, and that's the financing aspect of our business. And the previous two items I just mentioned simply won't get us financed for another year without supporting those areas. In the world I farm in an urban environment, if Ben is not farming it, I won't be replaced by another farmer. Most of it will most likely to go to a new shopping center or a housing development. So in saying that, I feel like we need to do one thing, and that make sure we get the details right in crop protection insurance, strengthen Title I, and most importantly, invest in the ability to market our products. I want to thank you, Chairman Conaway, Ranking Member Peterson, and all of you committee members for coming here to Texas and listening to our needs and fighting for agriculture. One other additional comment, in my trips to Washington, one of the things I try to always leave another congressman with a thought, no matter what environment they come from, they all need agriculture 3 times a day, and we need their vote. Thank you.
Chase Runyon, Angelo State University. Also, Dan Smith, cotton farmer, Lockney, Texas. Chase.
Thank you, Dr. May, committee chairman, members of the committee. Appreciate the opportunity to be here and have your audience here this afternoon. My name is Chase Runyon. I'm assistant professor and research scientist at Angelo State University. I direct the beef cattle operations out at the Management and Instruction and Research Center that unfortunately you guys didn't get to see today, but hopefully if you come back this way you'll have a chance to visit that. I'm also going to speak to you from the perspective of a 5th generation rancher on my family's operation in eastern New Mexico. I'd like to address just a couple of comments regarding my professional appointment here at Angelo State. As a assistant professor, I've had an opportunity to firsthand come into contact with the students that we influence and serve here in West Texas. As a non-land grant Hispanic Serving Institute, we have the opportunity to serve a little corner of our society, mostly first-generation students. Oftentimes going to be students such as myself, which have been from rural production agricultural backgrounds. Really strong need to continue the capacity building grant programs and keep funding those for these types of institutions that serve these graduate and undergraduate students that come through our university. For my family's operation as a production agriculturist, a couple of comments I'd like to make would please continue to improve and fund the EQIP programs. Certainly really good when it comes to using those funds in cooperation with farmers and ranchers that are in the area. Also like to encourage you to continue the disaster relief. I don't believe it's a matter of if a disaster is going to happen, more so about when is it going to happen and how bad it's going to be. Appreciate you guys being here. Enjoy your stay at Angelo State University. Enjoy San Angelo, Texas. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Runyon. Mike Henson, Texas Grain Sorghum. Dan?
Mr. Conaway, Mr. Peterson, committee members, I want to say how much I appreciate you being here today to hear our stories. My name is Dan Smith. I'm a cotton farmer and a member of the Texas Farm Bureau Board of Directors from Lotney, Texas. I've been farming for 43 years. This is my 43rd crop. Before that, I was raised on a farm right there with my dad. So I've been growing, except for 4 years at Texas Tech University, I've been right there. I want to relate a little story. 2 years ago, I got to visit the John Deere Cotton Harvester Works in Des Moines, Iowa. And we went through the assembly line. There were, I think, about 16 stations, everything from a bare frame to the finished product. They were building picker balers. On each one is a clipboard that shows the options. It also shows the final destination of that machine. Of those 16, one was going to a dealer in Tennessee. All the rest were going to Brazil. Now, that really drove home a point to me. Now, first of all, I don't know how much of Deere's production goes overseas, and I don't begrudge them for selling it because they're in business to make money. But that's a machine that a lot of guys like me would like to have, but you just can't. You know, you're talking $700,000 machines. Now, these countries are called developing countries under WTO rules. They can get subsidized. But me, since we're a developed country, cotton's not even a Title I commodity. It's a generic. And to be frankly, people, it's killing us. Now, you've been hearing this about young farmers, and we are losing them at a rapid rate, and that's serious. But after, this is going to be my 4th year that I'm praying I can break even. Now, so what I'm saying, you better start worrying about guys like me. So therefore, you better start worrying about the entire industry. I'm not kidding you. Our backs are to the wall. This thing is serious. You know, I had to pay $440 for a sack of cottonseed this year. And gentlemen, with 60-cent cotton, that's just not going to work. We have got to have some help. Cotton has got to be a Title I commodity.
Mr. Henson, go ahead. Yeah, Val Stevens, Texas Farm Bureau State Director.
Gentlemen, thank you for allowing me to come and talk. I'll try to bend down where you can hear me. Okay, that'll be better anyway. Chairman Conaway, thank you for this opportunity. Ranking Member Peterson, thank you. Other members, thank you. I appreciate it very much. My name is Mike Henson. I've been farming in Hockley County, Terry County, Lowell County for 38 years. I'm a 5th generation farmer, cotton farmer mainly, but I do grow cotton, corn, milo, wheat, and I raise cows. I farm about 10,000 acres of farmland, and I have about 50,000 acres of ranch land that I run cows on. So all of these things that everybody else has been talking about, Title I, the insurance, all of those things, y'all know about all of those. We need that support. You just heard the cost of equipment, the cost of inputs is skyrocketing for us. In 2014, I lacked about 50% of my loans paying out. Therefore, I had to go back and refinance every acre of land that I had, and it was all paid for, by the way. So every acre of that had to be paid for. I guess what I'm saying is when y'all are in that room and y'all are considering and you're in these things, I want you to remember something. This is my life. This is all lives out here. And this is what we do. We enjoy what we do, or we wouldn't be doing it. We realize the risks. We understand the trials. We understand the tough. We understand the things, and we're willing to take that risk. I just want y'all to remember that this is not just a business. It's a life and a lifestyle. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Henson. Jose Dodier with Don Jose Cattle Company in Zapata, Texas. Mr. Stevens.
Afternoon. Neighbor, good to see you today. I'm state director, and this is my home district, District 6. Congressman Conway, every time you look out your back door or your backyard, you see cropland all the way to the Texas Panhandle. Every time you come through our county, you see the results.
Talk a little closer, Mr. Stevens.
See our croplands erosion. You see the drought. Congressman, you've heard the comments, crop insurance, low prices, you know, the list goes on and on. But when you look around, and I'm not going to look behind me and see just now, but most of the farmers in my county, 55, 60, 65 and older, and we've lost one, if not two generations behind us. I can't tell you how much the need is in rural America. Education is there, and you know that. You've been to my rural school. Education is not the problem. We are educated, and our young people are going on to college. Congressman, if what you've heard before, if we lose another generation, what happens to our farmland out your back door? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stevens. Sonia Kobe with the Dairy Farmers of America in Dublin, Texas.
My name is Jose Dodier from Zapata, Texas, and I'm here to talk to you about the fever tick eradication program, which is not working. Down in Zapata County, we're right about in the middle of a 500-mile strip of land along the Texas-Mexico border that is the seed source. There's been a recent outbreak, and anytime it leaves the permanent quarantine zone down there, you guys hear about it. We live with it daily. The plan, the eradication plan, is destroying the livestock industry along this strip. Beef producers cannot fully realize the harvest value of their acres. Zapata is close to the middle of the strip. When there's an outbreak, that's when you're going to hear about it. This plan is 111 years old. Soon there'll be more outbreaks. It's just not working. The dipping of cattle is expensive. It affects their health and quality. The 100% capture rule is devastating and forces beef producers to change their pasture management. Producers are forced to abandon their conservation plans worked out through NRCS. In Zapata County, our county judge, who runs about 1,000 mama cows, has decided, I'm done. He's out of the business. Our bank president, he's done. He's out of the business. They don't want to finance loans for ranchers anymore because of this problem. Now, they've removed their cattle, they're gone, the ticks are still there. Soon they'll migrate out of that zone. They're using the wildlife. According to the APHIS inspectors, they're convinced that it's deer that moves the tick. NRCS has been our sole supporter down there. Therefore, conservation should get a strong title. Down there, we produce natural gas, we produce cattle. We stuck money into the U.S. Treasury. We've been crying for help. And every now and then we get a Band-Aid to put on our gaping wound. We've cooperated with APHIS. It's destroyed some of the family businesses, and the new outbreaks are very discouraging. It falls upon USDA and the Texas Animal Health Commission and you, gentlemen, this committee, to formulate a new concentrated approach to eradicate this tick. There needs to be more research. I am sure this university has produced some brilliant minds that could help us today, but there's no funding. I would love to see a research station formulated, of course, in Zapata County. That's why I came here today. We've been helping to control the fever tick.
10 seconds.
We're a defensive line that has no cornerbacks, no linebackers, no coach, no nothing. So, gentlemen, please take this with you. It's going to devastate the state of Texas eventually. I appreciate your service to our great nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dodier.
Good afternoon.
Alex Canepa, with Research Director at Farmer Market Coalition. Ms. Kobe.
Good afternoon, Chairman Conway, Co-Congressman Mr. Peterson, and gentlemen. I'm Sonia Koch from Erath County, and I dairy with my husband and family, 2 dairies in Erath County. We milk about 2,000 cows. It is a family operation, and through all this going on, it has been a challenge often for labor, but also it is very important in our trade agreement as of NAFTA at this point. A large percentage of our milk goes to Mexico. Actually, it's 15% of our dairy products go that way, which makes it very important for us to keep that open and negotiable with Mexico, but also including Canada at this point, where it came in to this last spring that our negotiation in the NAFTA in Canada wasn't quite where it needed to be. This also come to my awareness that NAFTA is now 21 years old, and it is something that needs to be relooked at and negotiated, and also it also comes to our notice that in this we are not negotiating on the same level as our other competitors in the NAFTA. So please relook at that, and also remember that dairy is very important, and NAFTA is very important to dairy, and moving these products to Mexico and Canada. And also in all of this, employment comes in. Labor is very important for us dairy producers. Every day we try to find people that will work for us or will help with this, and it is a manual job. There are no machines that can come in and do this. We actually have to hook up the machines to the cow. I know there are robots to do this for us, but at the Texas-sized dairies, we do not have that capability. It's not going to happen anytime soon. So labor is an important part. I know you have the different visa programs, but a dairy program, we don't have a harvest season. We have a total around 365 days, 24 hours a day, labor needed in this industry. So please look at your visa programs. There are some options out there that we could use better and also look deeper into it. Thank you for coming down to Texas and visiting with us, and hope to hear and look at what your Farm Bill will bring out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Cope. Josh Heilers, rancher from Austin, Texas. Alex.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Alex Canepa. I'm the Research Director of the Farmers Market Coalition. We represent farmers markets here in Texas and throughout the country. There are 2 programs that are vitally important to America's farmers market in the next Farm Bill: the Food Insecurity Nutrition Incentive, FENI, and the Farmers Market Promotion Program, FMPP. Congress created the Farmers Market Promotion Program back in 2002 to create new revenue opportunities for America's producers, farmers and ranchers that market directly. America's farmers markets have delivered on those promises. So when FMPP was created in 2002, there were 3,000 farmers markets in the U.S. Now that's up to 8,600. And the revenue opportunities that have come along with that have also been incredible. Today there are 167,000 farmers and ranchers marketing directly to American consumers, and that's creating $3 billion in direct economic activity. FMPP has been crucial in this effort. Markets that have participated in the FMPP program have seen their producers' revenues increase by an average of 27%, and first-time Americans visiting farmers markets of 94%. Despite these successes, however, America's farmers markets have their work cut out for us. As you guys know, it's the 4th straight year of falling farm revenue, and farmers markets can be a vital lifeline to struggling producers who have lost wholesale contracts or are just trying to diversify their revenue. Since Secretary Perdue isn't here today to say it, the Farmers Market Coalition, we completely agree with the new motto at USDA that we need to do right and feed everybody. And at farmers markets, we believe that that includes SNAP recipients, which is why the FENI program, the Food Insecurity Nutrition Incentive Program, is so important. FENI allows recipients of food stamps, SNAP, to double the value of those benefits at farmers markets, and some grocery stores are participating on fresh fruits and vegetables.
10 seconds.
Ms. Norman, from Feeding Texas mentioned that this program, Double Up Food Bucks, is being offered in Waco. Next stop is Lubbock, and in its first year, Feeding was offered in 27 states and 1,000 farmers, or excuse me, 1,000 farmers markets, and generated $14 million in economic activity for rural communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Josh Eilers.
All right,
Don
gentlemen.
Brown with Idalou Egg.
Josh Eilers here. Gentlemen, welcome to Texas. I couldn't think of a better person to follow up because this falls right into my storyline. Everyone's heard my story of Ranger cattle and getting out of the military and not really knowing what I was going to do. So I bought some cattle and I went to ranching because I lived in Texas. It had zero history in it. And everyone here, you know, you talk about we need these young beginning farmers and we need to promote them and help them any way we can, almost like they're like a mythical creature, but they exist, I assure you. And I'm one of them, but without your continued support, they won't for long. And the farmers markets are a perfect example of that. So at Ranger Cattle in Austin, Texas, you know, I sell my beef every Saturday at a farmer's market, and we're growing, and we're able to get a premium from that. So we're not, you know, we're not having to sell to big wholesalers and get bottom dollar. We're able to create our own market, and that is essential to an operation and being able to grow it. With that, I also want to touch base with veterans because everybody loves farmers, everybody loves ranchers, everybody loves veterans. So I can't think of a better way than just pull them all together. And I think my dream is that in this new farm bill, you guys will have a preference for veterans, maybe whether it's at USDA grants, because I don't think that we could screw up more as a society than to let one of our war fighters come back, wants to get into agriculture, and we don't do everything we possibly can to do that. You know, these are members just like myself who, you know, served in the military, wants to continue serving. So now that, you know, we're transitioning out of war and all these guys are coming home, it's like, well, what are they going to do? They want to continue to serve, so let's make sure we give them that opportunity. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you very much. Jimbo Grissom with Western Peanut Growers. Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Chairman Conway, Ranking Member Peterson, and committee members for taking the time to visit and hear directly from the farmers of the great state of Texas. My name is Don Brown. I'm the operations manager for Idalou Egg Ranch, located near Lubbock, Texas. I've been with this farm for a little more than a year, but have spent my entire career of more than 40 years in egg production and management of laying hens. Idalou Egg Ranch was originally built in the mid-'80s as an egg ranch for production of commercial white eggs, but was forced to sell out in 2005 due to poor market conditions. Our owners bought the farm, and their vision was to convert the entire farm to organic operation, and today we employ over 40 people on the farm who produce certified organic eggs. Without USDA National Organic Program and the organic seal, our farm of 200 plus acres and 40 employees would have gone away. Since 2005, when we became a certified organic operation, we continue to grow the farm and have bought millions of dollars worth of certified corn and soybeans from Texas Farm. Organic is a voluntary regulatory program that provides uniform, consistent standards in order to meet consumer expectations. We need adequate authority, accountability, and resources from the USDA National Organic Program. This is necessary to keep pace with the industry growth, to continue to set standards, and carry out compliance and enforcement actions in the U.S. and abroad. In addition, we ask that the USDA listen to the majority of organic stakeholders that have written letters of support to the Organic Livestock Poultry Practices Rule and allow the rulemaking process move forward as quickly as possible. We also have an opportunity in this farm bill to facilitate transition to organic by improving access to land and capital, investment in infrastructure,
10 seconds.
and targeted technical assistance. Thank you for the opportunity to provide these remarks today. The organic industry looks forward to working with the committee in developing the next farm bill.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Mr. Grissom. Rick Kellison from Texas Alliance for Water Conservation.
First off, I want to thank you guys for coming to West Texas. It's very nice to have you. I'm a cotton producer and peanut producer and cattle producer, and I live in Seminole, Texas, about 2.5 hours north of here. Some of the things that I thought about talking about was, you guys know on some of our policies what needs to be done and what's working and what's not working. I just want to tell you, like on my particular farm, since 2008, all we've done is burn equity and burn equity and burn equity. I had a son that was 36 years old. He worked for me for 10 years and decided that he could go out on his own, and he lasted 4 years. And now he has a job doing something else. But there's two things that really we grow in our area around Seminole, Brownfield, and that area, and that's cotton and peanuts. And we would like the continuation of the peanut program. And we would also like for the cotton program to be put back into Title I. And it talks, and everything that you pick up nowadays talks about, farm income being 50% from what it was just a few years ago. Well, that's pretty prevalent on my farm too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Grissom. Jeremy Brown with Plains Cotton Growers. Rick Kellison. Mr. Kellison, you have to move way up there.
My name's Rick Kellison. I'm an ag producer from Floyd County, just north of Lubbock, Texas. For the past 12 years, I've also acted as project director for Texas Alliance for Water Conservation, TAWC. In 2004, TAWC was created as a producer-driven project to demonstrate different agricultural systems and technologies to allow producers to use less irrigation water and still remain profitable. Partners in this producer-led project include Texas Tech University, AgriLife Research and Extension, the Farm Assistance Program, USDA ARS, High Plains Underground Water District, and is currently funded by the Texas Water Development Board. Currently, we have 18 producers and comprising 23 sites and over 3,800 acres in 9 South Plains counties. Each site is monitored for water applied and all other production inputs to determine profit and loss and yield per increment of water used. From this information, total crop water use can be determined and used for comparing different irrigation delivery systems and crop types. TAWC has also become a facilitator, transferring information between producers, academia, industry, commodity groups, and policymakers. We aid in the demonstration of new technologies and gather economic impact of these technologies to share with other producers. We have worked with the Field to Market program and the National Cotton Council to test the Field to Market calculator. Recently, we have entered into an MOU with Wrangler to tell the producer story about sustainability. Information from this project is respected and accepted by producers, crop consultants, and industry. The information is being used across state lines and internationally. The TAWC project has demonstrated and communicated methods of increasing water use efficiency to thousands of water users through conferences, field walks, field days, fact sheets, and online media. This reinforces the need for continued investments in sound science research directed to specific needs of production agriculture. Our producers are the people who continue to do more with less. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming, and thank you for bringing a good home. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Kellison. Benny Teal with Texas International Producers out of Lubbock. Mr. Brown.
Thank y'all for allowing me the opportunity to address y'all today. As you notice, there's not many of us guys that are below 40 here today, and I don't think it's because we don't like to talk. I think it's a picture of the industry. I love farming. There's nothing else I want to do. I've tried other jobs. In fact, I was here. We had a farm bill hearing here many years ago, and I worked for Congressman Nogba at the time as a staffer, and I remember just sitting back here thinking, I don't even know why I'm here. All I want to do is go get on that tractor. I'm thankful that I had the opportunity today, and that's what I love about farmers is we're resilient. We do have challenges, but we'll meet those challenges. I do believe that, but I do think we're going to have a strong farm bill to meet those challenges. And I think, I'm a cotton farmer, and as it's already been said, putting cotton back in Title I is very crucial to what I do. The other day, I know you're on Facebook. I was on Facebook the other day, and I was at the Museum of Ag in Lubbock. I took a picture of this tractor, and I said, it's kind of weird. I'm 37 years old. But there's a tractor in the museum that I grew up driving that kind of makes me feel old that it's now in the museum, you know? And what was interesting, though, what I love about social media is it goes all over the world, and then all of a sudden somebody commented and said, I bought one of those tractors brand new in 1979, and I paid $34,000 for that tractor, brand new, and I sold cotton in 1980 for 80 cents a pound. He said, the last year I farmed, the tractor cost me $228,000, and I sold it for 60 cents a pound. Well, as a farmer, I'm a fourth-generation farmer, but my story's a little bit different. My dad had to get out of farming when I was at Texas Tech, and so I didn't have a family to go back to, and so I basically had to start this all over. But I was fortunate enough that I married a girl that her dad farmed, and she thinks I only married her because her dad farmed, but, sometimes that might be the case, but, can you take that out of the public comment? But, in all seriousness, what Tim McDonald said from Ag Texas, having a strong guaranteed loan program is crucial for my operation. I had no equity. The bank, when they look at me, they're like, "What do you have behind you?" Well, I'm trying to grow this business. I have a neighbor that's 75 years old. He's always saying, "Hey, when are you going to buy out my operation? How do I go buy out 5,000 acres?" But he doesn't have anybody who's going to turn around and farm his land. So that's the reality that he is, and I'm hungry. I'll farm that land. I'm ready to work, and we'll do what we got to do to make it work. But we need a strong farm policy to help us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Bernie Teal, representing the Texas International Produce Association. Chairman Conaway, members. I'm here to talk to y'all for just a minute about something that involves everybody in this room if you're involved in production agriculture, and that's labor. I understand that labor will not be touched in the Farm Bill, which I understand, but I think we have a good lap bill that's in front of us right now, H2C. And this is my 45th year in the produce industry, and I'm going to tell you right now that we have got to do something. We're in a dire situation, and it needs to be done soon. And that's really the topic I wanted to talk about, was the labor. And hopefully you guys will talk to your members in Congress that will get behind this, because we definitely need it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. John R. Gieschenschlag with JRG Farms in Snook, Texas. And after him, John Jones with Texas Aquaculture Association.
Gentlemen, I appreciate the chance to be here. We've heard a lot of talk about how many generations you farmed. I have the 6th one working with me now and the 7th one riding a pedal tractor, so I think I'm in pretty good shape. It's going to be kind of hard to take 50 crops of farming experience and condense it into less than 2 minutes. But I'm going to try to address the crop insurance and the farm subsidy programs in the same topic. I feel very, very strongly that we have to maintain the crop insurance program. I think that it is administered efficiently because it's done through private companies. I think that you can choose your level of coverage that you want. I think the product is delivered timely. I think the revenue is delivered back to the farmer timely, or the producer, much more efficiently than has been done in the other programs that have been put out there. From a banking standpoint, I serve as the chairman of our loan committee, and I know that having crop insurance is imperative for us to refinance farmers. I think this is how I would address that. I also want to touch on the conservation aspect. I fully believe that we have to have conservation in our ag industry. I think that the conservation should be done through individuals. I think that we should pay for our own conservation practices. I think that we can implement a practice much more efficiently than a government-mandated way to do it. I think that we should be compensated for these conservation practices with tax incentive. This would also, in my operation, I have a lot of rented land. I have landowners that were absentee landowners that would like to participate in improving their property. This would give them an incentive through tax
10 seconds
to do this. Lastly, I want to tell you that you have to be in the shoes that I wear each day and feel that it is a great, great privilege to be able to farm. I thoroughly believe that I was meant to farm. I plan on doing this all my days. I have done many other things in my life, but I have never quit that. And I respect each of you's opinions. I'm glad that you respect ours. Thank you.
All right. Alan West with the Lubbock County Farm Bureau, Mr. John Jones.
Chairman Conaway, Ranking Member Peterson, committee members, and staff. My name is John Jones. I'm a lake management professional, fish farmer, Aggie, and steadfast supporter of goods produced in America, even more specifically, produced right here in Texas. I appreciate the opportunity to speak briefly on behalf of the Texas Aquaculture Association and for those among you that enjoy the taste of fish and health benefits of American farm fish. I thank you. The Texas Aquaculture Association requests U.S. aquaculture be designated as a specialty crop. With this designation, aquaculture producers will be able to compete for specialty block grants and to assist with their market analysis and product promotion. They will also become equally included in the Farm Service Agency disaster assistance programs for livestock. We also request expanded authority for the USDA's Wildlife Damage Management Program that works directly with farmers to reduce bird predation on farm fish. Several of the non-native species of birds that feed on catfish, bass, redfish, tilapia, and other farm species are currently protected by the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. Approximately 18 months ago, federal, state, and private aquaculturists' ability to procure a permit to combat these avian predators was suspended. As of today and the foreseeable future, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife has been unable to meet the requirements for the National Environmental Policy Act to restore our ability to protect our livelihood, and along with the livelihood of those we employ. We request the USDA be provided with parallel authority to write bird depredation permits. This authority will immensely benefit fish farmers who for the last 18 months have had no recourse as non-native predatory birds have decimated their stocks and driven some producers towards insolvency.
10 seconds.
Thank you again for your opportunity, or for the opportunity to comment.
Jeff Roper. You next. He lost his place in line. No, we'll let him. Yeah, there's a lot of you holding it. Okay, well, get up here, Jeff. We'll get it over quicker that way.
Chairman Conaway, Ranking Member Peterson, other committee members, as well as my congressman, the freshman on the end over here, Mr. Arrington, thank you for coming to Texas. My name is Jeff Roper. I farm in Yoakum County, right on the Texas-New Mexico state line. Mr. Chairman, I've had the pleasure of hearing you speak several occasions this year. One thing that you've talked about that I've been thinking about is the anniversary of the Republic and what a great nation we have. And I've researched back into my family history to find out that farming has been in my family since the late 1800s. My dad, my granddad, his dad, they all farmed. I will be the last one in my family to farm. I do have a son, a senior in high school. He's not going into farming. In today's climate, margins are too low. Risk is at all-time high since I started in 1993. That concerns me, as well as it should you all, as well as the number of farmers are getting fewer and the age of the farmers getting older. Every input that we have to put into our crop increases every year. Even non-crop inputs that we have increased, as well as, for example, the health insurance. Mine has doubled since the implementation of the Not-So-Affordable Health Care Act. Auto and home insurance, property taxes, and the list goes on and on. Agriculture is one of the few professions that we have that we do not get to set the price on the product that we produce. If margins are not at the level that works, we can't just raise the price to make up the difference. It was John F. Kennedy that said the farmer is the only one that buys everything at retail and sells everything at wholesale and pays base freight both ways. We also have to suffer and deal with trade deals made by the government in other countries, for example, NAFTA or the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Mr. Chairman, I've heard you state, as far as the TPP, to let the current position serve as a baseline and not get any worse. I would hope that the Farm Bill would be the same way. We as farmers go through this every 4 to 5 years hearing talk that it's going to be a hard fight to keep what we have. There will have to be giving and compromise. I would believe as producers we have given and compromised. You want to know what works and doesn't work? What doesn't work is the loss of cotton being in the program. That's put pressure on every other commodity. What does work for me is the peanut program. I've been growing peanuts since 1996. My decision to plant peanuts is not dictated by the program. It's one of the few programs that have a true safety net for producers that has a target price that gives the assurance that even when the market falls, we can make enough to at least cover our inputs. If it had not been for the peanut program, I and a lot of other producers would not be in business today. And I don't know a farmer out here that wouldn't want to just grow a crop and sell it for a fair price and do it again next year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Mark West Alan West with Lubbock County Farm Bureau? Did he come back? Susie Wilde, crop insurance agent here in San Angelo. And then Cal Brents with the executive director of Texas Certified Farmers Market. Ms. Wilde.
Good afternoon. It's good to see you again back home. I didn't prepare anything, but what I want to let you know is I'm a crop insurance agent, and everyone in here, I know I'm a broken record at this point in time, but I see it day after day. The crop insurance is vitally important for dryland farmers, and that's the majority of what you're seeing here. This is like, I wasn't ready. He called it. Every week I have to send to the bank the schedules of insurance for farmers to get their loans. I did that this morning before I come here. It was for a young farmer, just barely going to get his loan. So we have to take care of the crop insurance program. We can't eliminate anyone. We can't fix these subsidies, cap them where that we're going to eliminate larger farmers. We have to keep them in the mix. If we don't, the crop insurance program could collapse. Without the crop insurance program, I couldn't send that schedule to the bank for that young farmer. So it's vital. We have to keep it intact. We have to keep the subsidies intact. We have to keep everyone in the risk pool. That's the big thing on the crop insurance. I know that you know this. I know you've heard it. But me seeing it with farmers all day, every day, believe me, it's true. That is the bottom line. If your house burns down, your insurance is going to pay to get you a new house. When their crops don't come in, when we don't get to harvest a crop, I don't get to pay them for a crop. I pay them for a small portion of a crop to hopefully get started on the next year. So it's not like your homeowners. It's not like your auto insurance. It only pays for a portion. So we have to keep that intact. We have to keep it strong. And that is one of the big things that's going to help the young farmers, which you've heard a broken record all day. That will keep them going too. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming to Texas.
Okay. Kevin Nehus, come up. Mr. Brents.
I'm Cal Brents, Executive Director of Texas Certified Farmers Market Corporation. We have 100 farmers market locations across the state, representing about 1,000 farmers that are producing for those markets. First, I'd like to say thank you very much for your staff because of the help your staff has been giving to us so professionally and efficiently for many years. They work with limited resources, so kudos to the folks back that work with you. Thank you. I speak on behalf of our Farmers Market Association. I've had 39 years in fruit and vegetable production that mainly goes to farmers markets and pick your own operations. The farmers markets are an important retail outlet for diversified produce farmers and can make a crucial difference in to farmer income. the USDA programs that connect these low-income shoppers with farmers markets, including the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program, the SNAP, FENI programs, and the Farmers Market Nutrition Program, or sometimes called the WIC Farmers Market Program, are critical smart government spending programs because they help our shoppers buy the healthy food they need, increase farm income, and very importantly, they keep that food dollar in that local rural community. Very critical. Several farmers markets, as Alex Canepa said a few minutes ago, are starting up with the Double Up Food Bucks program, and this is being done with private funds. We need help to increase that Double Up Food Bucks program to expand it into other markets.
10
Our
seconds.
market started it last week. Let me make one just glaring comment about what the situation is in Texas. We have about 330,000 Texans that live in poverty. We have 4 million Americans, seniors, that live in poverty. The Seniors Farmers Market Program that we have the bottom line is that 8% of Americans, low-income seniors, live in Texas, but we only get less than 0.5% of the funding that should come through to Texas for the Senior Farmers Market Program. So we would just like to have the increased funding that would be just our fair share. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Right, just 1 second. 2 of our members are going to have to go catch an airplane. We talked to American Airlines, and they really want that plane to leave on time. And so don't be offended, but 2 of them will slip out here in a couple of minutes. 3 of them members, but the rest of us will be here. So thank you.
Kristen Anderson with Texas Agro-Edmond. Kevin Nehus, please.
I want to begin by thanking the committee for holding this listening session. My name is Kevin Nehus, and I'm a third-generation farmer in the Concho Valley area. I have 3 brothers and a sister, all who are in the farming industry also. I'm not sure how my dad pulled that off, but I would hate to do it at this time. I farm with my brother Brent. We raise cotton, milo, wheat, and cotton, and cattle. My wife Donna and I have 3 children, 2 daughters, both of are teachers, and a son who graduated from Texas A&M with a mechanical engineering degree. He went to work for Peterbilt and Dent for 2 years and has recently returned home and is actively engaged in our farming operation. A strong crop insurance program is critical need in farming. One thing is certain in agriculture, there will be losses in some part of the United States. Annual losses incurred from farming clearly demonstrate the need for crop insurance protection. With our expanding and growing expenditures, we are faced with the need for a strong, viable, and affordable tool for managing our risk. This is imperative, which you've heard over and over, when trying to acquire capital for cash flow from year to year. Cotton is an essential crop in our farming operation. It is imperative that comprehensive cotton support is on par, and cotton seed, with other commodities by including them in the Title I of next year's Farm Bill. For me, having a son coming back into the farming industry and 3 nephews of my brothers and sisters who have recently joined their families' farms, a strong farm bill and crop insurance program is key to them being successful in farming. New farmer incentives and programs to help these young farmers will give these young men a chance to succeed. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Kevin. Lori Branham, Kristen Anderson.
Good afternoon, Chairman Conway and committee members. We're so excited to have you here in Texas. My name is Kristen Anderson. I'm a cattlewoman originally from the great Hoosier state of Indiana, but I got to Texas as fast as I could. I work here locally from San Angelo all the way to Beaumont and cover Waco all the way down to the Rio Grande Valley, working with 130 farmers who cover 72 different commodities. Just to show you a little bit about the diversity within the state of Texas, there are 3 things that I'd like to capitalize on while I have the platform. One, obviously, being my age. I am the vice president of Texas Agri-Women, the youngest executive member by about 30 years. So it is imperative that we have really strong legislative portions that help our young farmers and ranchers and excite young people about getting into ag, whether it's in the farming sector, as a scientist, as somebody like myself. I work for Syngenta. I work on the input side, agrochemicals and seed side of the business. It is imperative. I won't go on because many other young people in this room today have talked about the importance of that issue. Second thing that I see with a lot of my farmers all across the state is the issue of labor. The H-2A workforce program is something that we really have to focus on. I've seen fields and fields of things ranging from cabbage to watermelons have to get chopped up because we didn't get a workforce in time. And in some cases, we only have 72 hours to harvest those crops. So it is extremely important. I realize that's not part of the Farm Bill, but given the platform, we have to educate more about the importance of labor and getting those in a timely manner, especially in a state that farms 365 days a year. Last thing that really hasn't been touched on today is the marketing portion, especially within the specialty crop sector of the Farm Bill. We have growers that are every single day farming more from less, and I think that really needs to be marketed. There's about 20 different crop organizations that have promotions boards, but a lot of those, the customer and the consumer who's buying that product at the grocery store is not seeing the conservation efforts of the farmer. They're not seeing the stewardship programs that these farmers are enrolling in, and they're certainly not seeing all the technology, the data, and the metrics that are going behind what we're doing in order to produce more from less. And so I would just really encourage you to look at those marketing programs and to find a way that we can better increase that transparency between the farmer and the consumer.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Jimmy Waddell, Corn Producers Association of Texas. Ms. Branham. Dr. Branham.
Good afternoon. Lori Branham with the Department of Agriculture here at ASU. As an associate professor in the ASU Ag Department, I would like to thank you for your previous support of grant programs benefiting non-land grant research and ask for continued support in the future. Our Ag Department believes that the true measure of our success lies in the ability of our students to go out after graduation and become productive members of the ag industry. In other words, can they get a job? Over the past several years, I've been fortunate to be part of both a capacity building grant as well as a USDA Hispanic Serving Institution education grant that are both helping to produce these highly employable graduates. Through the HSI grant, our project titled Developing Tomorrow's Meat and Food Scientists, we are able to go out to targeted outreach efforts in K-12 classrooms and community visits and educate underrepresented groups on the amazing and diverse career opportunities available in the ag industry. This grant has also funded mentor programs and research efforts aimed at increasing retention of these underrepresented students once they're on our campus. That's where the capacity building grant kicks in building opportunities for these future agriculturalists. Partnering with other great non-land grant institutions like Texas Tech and California State Fresno, our food safety lab was outfitted with cutting-edge and industry-standard technology, giving our students research opportunities previously more readily available at larger land grant institutions. Our students are leaving ASU highly sought after by industry groups for the education they received in the one-on-one research and production environments available at our Management Instruction and Research Center. This facility, composed of a 6,000-acre working ranch with production animal research capabilities, research labs, and federally inspected meat harvest facility, gives our students a truly pasture-to-plate education that's been taken to the next level because of the research opportunities in these non-land granting programs.
Thank you.
So with that, we'd like to say thank you for your support of these programs in the past and in the future as you draft the next bill.
Thank you, Dr. Branham. Michael Paz with the Texas Association of Olive Oil. Jimmy Waddell.
Greetings, Chairman Conaway, the committee, and by Congressman Jody Arrington. Thank you for holding this hearing today to allow those of us involved in Texas agriculture an opportunity to offer you our input on the new Farm Bill. My farm is located 70 miles northwest of Lubbock in Bailey County. I grow corn, cotton, wheat, soybeans, and grain sorghum, all certified organic. I serve in leadership positions on several organizations, including the Corn Producers Association of Texas, the Texas Organic Cotton Marketing Co-op, Organic Trade Association, and Capital Farm Credit. However, my comments today are my own views. We need a farm bill that continues to assure the consumers a safe, affordable food supply. As you are well aware, farm income has declined almost 50% since 2013, and thus it is critical that we develop a farm program that is truly a safety net, not a shallow loss program such as the previous ARC program. We need a PLC program that works for farmers and consumers, that has a reference price point that is high enough to be a true safety net, and also should be indexed to producer inflation costs. Farmers should be allowed to update basis yields for program payments by crop and by farm. Cotton should be put back in the Title I program. Crop insurance is a vital part of the farm safety net, and the Farm Bill should maintain affordable crop insurance. I oppose any limitations of crop insurance that would limit or discourage participation. As has been mentioned before, it would be detrimental to the program. Also, the nearly $50 billion a year organic industry is a bright spot in our farm economy. Organic agriculture boosts local economies, raises household incomes, and reduces poverty level, and creates long-lasting benefits for rural areas. Organic provides a profitable option to conventional farmers, a unique opportunity for aspiring farmers, and healthy choices to consumers. Organic thrives when organic's importance to rural areas is recognized. The organic sector relies on a well-funded support for organic through USDA's National Organic Program. What we need in the 2018 Farm Bill are policies and protections that strengthen the integrity of the USDA organic seal and boost investment and research for organic acres. Also, the farm credit system is very important to the organic agriculture and conventional agriculture industry, and a broader role for farm credit and to enhance efforts to rebuild rural infrastructure should also be fostered. The 2018 Farm Bill needs to ensure stability for farmers both in times of prosperity and in times of depressed prices and adverse weather. Thank you for this opportunity to comment.
Thank you, Mr. Waddell. Heath Hill with the Texas Corn Producer. Mr. Paz.
Chairman Conway and members of the committee, thank you for holding this session in the great state of Texas. My name is Michael Paz, and I'm an olive grower in Cotulla, Texas. I'm also the president of the Texas Association of Olive Oil. We represent about 3,000 acres of olives here in Texas. Olive oil production in Texas has been growing, including an olive orchard planned and planted in your district, Chairman. We are still a developing industry here in Texas and the U.S., but one that is worth the government's investment. To meet current U.S. demand of olive oil, 450,000 acres of trees need to be planted. We currently have 44,000 in the U.S. Today, the state of Texas has 270 growers managing over 4,000 acres of olives, which produced 21,000 gallons of olive oil last year. We still have a lot to learn, which is why the Specialty Crop Block Grant and the Specialty Crop Research Initiative programs are so important to our young industry. Since 2010, these programs have provided vital funding for research, education, and marketing efforts for our industry. Our producers, along with Texas A&M AgriLife Extension, are teaming up on an SCRI grant with the American Olive Oil Producers Association, as well as other producing states and universities. This research will help grow the olive industry. The government's investment in these programs will continue to build specialty crop industries, create jobs, and help feed our nation. In Texas, we currently do not have crop insurance for olives, but the Tree Assistant Program and the NAP program were made available to us for the first time last year. We ask you to continue to fund these assistance programs as they provide a vital safety net for our Texas growers.
10 seconds.
Thank you for your time and all you do for American agriculture.
Thank you, Mr. Pond. Bill Ballou, Southern Rolling Plains Cotton Growers. Mr. Hill.
Yes, my name is Heath Hill. I'm a small farmer in Sherman County, far north panhandle. We grow corn, wheat, sorghum, kids, cattle, a little bit of everything we can. I'd like to thank y'all, first of all, for sticking out and hanging with us a little bit longer than the other three did. I don't envy y'all's position this year on this 2018 Farm Bill, but something I'd like for y'all to consider for the Farm Bill is an increase in the reference price in the ARC and PLC programs. To have bankable and adequate price protection programs such as the PLC, the reference price must be set at a level which will provide protection when prices declined significantly. That's nothing new, but the 2014 Farm Bill price was at $3.70, which was so far below the actual cost for production in the PLC program that less than 10% of the U.S. corn farmers and less than 10% of the corn base was enrolled in the PLC program. The Corn Producers Association of Texas has contended since 2010 the reference price for the ARC and PLC program should be in the $4 bushel range for an adequate price protection. There's been recent work done by the Ag and Food Policy Center at Texas A&M which indicates a reference price for $4.04 for the ARC and PLC program is justifiable based on the current cost of production. This is the biggest one for me, being a young farmer and trying not to be another statistic, is that ag lenders can easily see if the price of corn is below the reference price, then the programs contained in Title I will begin to make payments. And with these payments coming in at a break-even cost or even a little bit closer to it, you know, I have something more to take to my banker and don't have to rely on somebody else trying to pony up the money and then worrying about them having to go broke and supporting me.
10 seconds.
We would strongly recommend including an adjustment factor for the ARC and PLC reference price based on the cost of production increases. This adjustment factor would keep the reference price relevant as the cost of production increases. God bless y'all and thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Hill. Will Collier with the Dairy Farmers of America from Snyder, Texas. Bill Ballou.
Good afternoon. Get this thing going. Mr. Chairman, thanks for being my congressman and the rest of the committee being here. I graduated here in '96 and actually had Dr. May as a prof back then before he got famous. But anyway, I've been farming for 21 years, and when I left here, I never thought that I'd be before Ag Committee hearing, but I thought that we'd just go get on a tractor and make a living. But times are tough in our area. We've got I've got a 10-year-old that he eats, breathes, and sleeps farming. I hope that he can do it. So I encourage you to not to make any cuts to crop insurance. We're at the bare minimum of what it is. If there's any way, let's get Title I, cotton back in Title I. And I just appreciate your time. And if there's any way that we can have a gen cost share assistance program, that would be a plus. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Dave Curie from the Southwest Council of Ag in Stratton, Colorado. Will Collier.
Congressman, thank you for your time today. My name is Will Collier. I'm a fourth-generation dairy farmer from Snyder, Texas. My wife and my 3 children, we take pride in producing milk for America. And we also farm 6,000 acres of feed for our cows and also cotton. We run beef cattle, and we look forward to being in agriculture for a long time. In doing so in the dairy industry, 4 years ago, 5 in the last Farm Bill, we pushed hard for the Margin Protection Program, the MPP. We thank you all for putting that in the farm program. But there's a few tweaks that we asked to be looked at. It's a safety net for dairy producers, and it's at a point where we can't afford to buy that protection for our farm. It's not priced the right way for us to make it work. So for when the price goes down and feed goes back up, we need a protection program to help us stay in business. So we ask y'all to take a look at that when y'all come to it. Also, labor. I know y'all heard that a lot today. The H2A program is not for milking cows, and that's something that we do 365 days a year and 24 hours a day. And it's hard to find Americans that want to milk cows. We've tried it, and they last a couple days. I've also applied. We've done some J1 visa student workers from Central America. Those are short-term programs, 3 months, and we've had one that wanted to come back and try to do an H-2B. Well, we spent a couple $1,000s 2 years in a row, and it's like a lottery. And I don't play the Texas lottery, and I signed up for that lottery twice, and I didn't get picked. So they only have a certain amount. So
10 seconds.
If y'all could just look at the labor issues and help legal get documented workers here to help us get our cows milked. We thank you for your time, and y'all have a great day.
Thank you, Will. Donnie Schwertner, Casper Grain Company. Mr. Curie.
Chairman Conway and committee members. I haven't been this nervous since I proposed my wife 38 years ago. I'm from Stratton, Colorado, where my wife and I have a farm and ranch combination. We're about 30 miles from Congressman Marshall's district, and actually my son and daughter-in-law just moved to Goodland, so they're in your district. But I'm here to talk to you about the term mandatory base reallocation. And I don't have a problem with base reallocation. It's the word mandatory. I'm a playwright. Don't think the word mandatory should be in the Farm Bill. In eastern Colorado, Congressman Marshall, we're aware of, we have the Ogallala aquifer problem. And we're trying very hard to conserve water. And in 2008, we shut down 13 irrigation wells and went completely dry on that. So we've been working over the years, and in the last 5 years, we've planted 8 different crops. 4 of them are non-program crops. And we're doing that not only into a rotation and some of them for forage for our livestock operation, but to cut back on the weed resistance in the no-till operation. So we're working very hard to save water, save our soil, and to keep from creating a bigger problem with weed residuals. And to be punished then by saying that we have to have mandatory, because then 25% of our base will be lost. And so all the work and investment we've done over the years into equipment, land, and research goes down the tubes, and because we lose that, we can't come back and plant those crops. I mean, we can come back and plant them, but we won't have any safety net. So for that, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Curie. Celia Cole, CEO, Feeding Texas. Donnie.
Mr. Conway, thank you. I am a fourth-generation farmer that does not exist. My dad farmed. He retired about a few months ago. I do, however, own the Casper Grain Company in Miles. I am in agriculture, and now I have my back to all of my customers, and it's not my fault. Your income is down 50%. That is what most believe. I'm here actually representing the Texas Grain and Feed and the National Grain and Feed Council with a short memo to y'all. Both councils strongly believe prime farmland should not be enrolled in CRP. CRP enrollment should be focused exclusively on marginal lands, which are more erodible and less productive. Both councils recommend that CRP enrollments be limited to no more than 10 to 15% of a county's cropland, and that waiver authority to enroll more of this percentage be eliminated. To defend beginning farmers, National Grain and Feed recommends capping CRP rental rates at 90% of the most recent rates derived from National Agriculture Statistics surveys of dryland cash rental rates for cropland. They also believe that scarce federal funding should be targeted at working land conservation programs such as CSP and EQIP, which promote agricultural sustainability. Both the TGFA and NGFA urges Congress to retain the current CRP acreage cap of 24 million acres and avoid repeating the mistakes of the past CRP, which was an ill-conceived supply control program. On behalf of the Texas Grain and Feed, Tara Ortho and Bobby Frederick from the Legislative Affairs of the National Grain and Feed Council, we thank you.
Thank you, Donnie. Sheila Hemphill, Texas Hemp Industries Association Policy Director. Ms. Cole.
Good afternoon, Chairman Conway, members. Thank you for sharing your time with us here today. I'm Celia Cole. I'm the CEO of Feeding Texas. We're the state association that represents all 21 food banks in Texas that are part of the Feeding America network. And I'm here today to share 2 recommendations with you related to the SNAP program. First and foremost, we urge you to maintain the current funding levels and preserve its entitlement structure. This is the only way that SNAP will continue to be able to reach all of those who need it and remain responsive to changes in the economy. Having a SNAP program is also critical to the very good partnerships, public-private partnerships that our food banks have developed to help break the cycle of food insecurity and reduce the need for SNAP in the long term. The best example of that kind of public-private partnership is one that our food banks have with many of the people here today, with farmers and growers. We work with them to rescue the produce they can't sell, but that's perfectly edible and nutritious, and get that produce out to the hungry Texans that we serve. We then pair that produce distribution with education to help our clients lead healthier and more productive lives, again, reducing their need for SNAP in the future. We have big and bold goals to distribute more produce and take those programs statewide, but we can only do that if we know that a strong SNAP program is there for our clients when they need it. The second recommendation relates to strengthening the SNAP employment and training program. Although SNAP is not a jobs program and we don't think it should be treated as such, we do think there are some concrete steps that can be taken to strengthen SNAP's role in connecting able-bodied adults to work when they're struggling to find jobs. Specifically, we urge a stronger upfront case management approach. If you look at SNAP employment and training programs in Texas and across the country, we do very little upfront to figure out which clients actually need our help, what kind of services they need, and then provide those kinds of services that really will get them into the workforce in the long term off SNAP. So we recommend a much stronger approach up front that then leads to a tiered system of work requirements where we target services to those that most need it, provide services that will help people get back on their feet, but most importantly make sure that when a client needs something that falls outside of the scope of SNAP, that they're not punished for continuing to struggle to find work. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today. Thank you for your time.
Ms. Hemphill.
Thank you so much. I'm Sheila Hemphill, Policy Director for the Texas Hemp Industry Association. I'm so happy to have this few moments to share with you what I see a bright future for agriculture with a new commodity that has been banned for the last 70 years for being falsely accused of being a narcotic, which it is not. Industrial hemp is from the Cannabis sativa L species, from the variety Cannabis sativa L. Depending on the gene predisposition, determines whether or not you have a hemp plant or a marijuana plant. We're grateful for the 2014 Farm Bill that defined industrial hemp under Section 7606 as being containing 0.3% or less of THC, so you don't get high on hemp. But I tell you what you do get with hemp. You get food, fiber, building materials. You get a crop that takes half as much water as cotton with little to no pesticides or herbicides that can produce crops that grow anywhere from 12 to 15 feet for fiber. Different varieties will have different heights of it. So depending upon the gene predisposition, depending on what kind of plant you get. So getting a marijuana plant from a hemp plant is about like getting a Great Dane from 2 Chihuahuas. It's just not going to happen. Now, we all have packets for everyone, and I guess we'll have to run out to the airport to get those other 3 gentlemen's their packet. I hope that you will look at these packets. In here you will find that in Texas, we are on the Republican platform, the Democratic platform, and on the Texas Farm Bureau policy manual. I believe every member of this committee, except for the 2 Texans, have industrial hemp policies in their state. 33 states now allow for their farmers to grow it. We are asking that the newly filed HB 3530 that was filed Friday by Representative Comer, which is the Industrial Hemp Act that would federally take industrial hemp off the Controlled Substance Act, making it eligible for banking and crop insurance. We have heard the demise of rural Texas and rural America. There is no greater lifestyle that has been depicted this day. It's no different from state to state. Farmers are the salt of the earth. They are our primary defense. They are our primary health care providers. They are the roots of every urban area started out in urban. And it's these policies of this government that is going to determine the future of farming. So I plead with you to look through this Farming Act. In fact, you might go dig up where those wool and mohair incentives went to back in the 90s, because that was responsible for collapsing large industries in this area, and I'm still mad about it. So I ask you. So thank you, Representative Conaway. You know, since 2005, I've been looking for ways to revitalize rural economies. This plant has the potential. We have letters of intent to do research from Texas Tech, followed by letters of intent to purchase from Patagonia. We have letters of intent to purchase, producer contracts waiting. We've got to free it up. So free the hemp. So thank you for your time.
Mr. Chairman, we have one more farmer. Would you like? Okay. Doug Wilde from the Southern Rolling Plains Cotton Growers.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and committee members. My name is Douglas Wilde. I'm a fifth-generation cotton farmer from Wall, Texas. And my wife and I farm 3,000 acres of cotton in 3 counties here in West Texas. I want to kind of sound like a broken record again. I'll be quick. Title I, cotton seed, we don't care how to get it there, just get it there. And back to crop insurance. It is of vital importance to my business. And you can ask my banker, you can ask any of the bankers in here. We wouldn't be farming without it. It is truly a necessity. Lastly, the U.S. cotton industry is heavily dependent on our export markets. 75% of the cotton that we raise is exported, mostly to China for mills over there. By creating and continuing stable markets, foreign markets, and marketing loan programs that we have in place, it continues the future of our agriculture business in West Texas. Jim Shigarrett mentioned it earlier, the term sustainable and sustainable ag. I have a little different definition of sustainable ag. It's to be in business next year and to leave my farm to my 18-month-old little boy who he doesn't want to ride on the pedal tractor anymore. He wants to go out and ride on the big tractor. 18 months old, he knows what he wants to do the rest of his life. I sure hope I can provide that for him. Thank you very much, and thank y'all for coming on the farm tour this morning. As soon as we left, we got over an inch of rain, so y'all come back anytime y'all want. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I guess we're out of time unless you want to extend the time.
Well, I think we may have come to the limit of our rear ends and our bladders. What I will do this, if you'll bear with me, the 5 of us will run to a quick press availability, and then we'll come back in the room and talk individually for those of you that did not have a chance to speak to the broader group. So we do want to hear from you. Thanks to school, you guys have done a terrific job. Thank my staff for putting all of this together, making this come off so flawlessly. It's a lot of great work that went on. I can't tell you how impressed I am with the comments we heard today. Some really heartfelt comments that obviously touched the heartstrings of each and every one of us. Some good policy thoughts and just a terrific 3 hours of listening to producers across this great state tell us what's working, what's not working. This actually exceeded my expectations of what I hoped my committee members would hear from the folks that I get to hear from most all of the time. And we're anxious to get about the process of writing this new farm bill. The current one expires, as you know, September 30th of 18. I am driven to get it done, renewed before it expires. Last time that happened, Larry Combest did it, and I'm trying to walk in those big shoes to get that done as well. The drama associated with expiration and short-term extensions and permanent law threats and all of that drama, I hope you need to go to a different theater to experience that this time, because we're going to get it done. The Senate Ag Committee, Pat Roberts told in a public hearing the other day, Mitch McConnell, that he wants to do the Senate version in 17, and McConnell said, quicker the better, the sooner the better. I've talked to our leadership. I hope to have the House version on the floor at the end of this, in the fourth quarter of calendar 17, first quarter of calendar 18, which will get us time then to make those hard, difficult decisions that we'll have to make to get this thing done on time. We will collectively need the wisdom of Solomon to make this happen. We're going to, we've got, as I said earlier, we've got a better story to tell in terms of why we need this farm bill and what is there. President Trump has said he wants a good farm bill done. We've got trade negotiations going on. Bob Goodlatte has the H2C program moving forward. So we're addressing these things. They're not happening anywhere near as fast as you want them to, nor as fast as I want them to. But with respect to the farm bill, we intend to get that done and get that done on time. This September, we'll celebrate the 230th anniversary of our Constitution. That document that the framers put together that we've allowed to live under for some 232 years. Benjamin Franklin was the oldest fellow there, and when he finished up, came out, he was asked, "What have you given us, good doctor, a monarchy or a republic?" And he looked at the lady and said, "A republic, madam, if you can keep it." Think about that phrase, if you can keep it. Some 230 years we've kept the republic. Somebody has on our behalf, and we've enjoyed it for all these years. John Adams wrote that only a moral and religious people can self-govern, that amoral and immoral people have to have a different scheme altogether. Only self-governing folks can keep the republic that's happened. As I look at our country, as I see the things that go on day in and day out, I'm genuinely concerned that we're losing that moral high ground, that we're losing the authority in which to self-govern. We've killed 57 million babies in 44 years. There are lots of things going on in this country that God cannot and will not bless. The breakup of the nuclear family, the impact that has on the moral compasses of children. You've all heard several folks talk about how important it is to hand down these farming traditions to the next generation of families. That's where the core, that's where the heart of this country exists, is in rural America. And that's why most of us are so driven to try to protect rural America and production agriculture to make that happen, because that's where all those values that sustain this republic are in safekeeping occurs in rural America. So what do we do about that moral decline? What do we do about that moral high ground that we're seeing slipping away from us? Well, it's an individual fight. I can't legislate it, and it's an individual deal. It's not a collective. It's an individual deal. My job, your job, to reclaim that moral high ground. You do it by living a code. I live the Judeo-Christian model. Jesus Christ is my personal Savior, and I try to live His tenets every single day, and some days are better at it than others. But you've got to live a code as well. You and your family, your neighborhood, community, your city, your state, all of us have those concentric rings of influence where every day we have to be about the hard, arduous task of reclaiming my moral high ground. Because if we don't, then we can't self-govern. And if we can't self-govern, we can't protect the republic. We can't defend the republic. We can't keep the republic. So think about it from time to time. Whenever you hear somebody sing "God Bless America," or you hear somebody ask for God's blessings, what am I asking God to bless? And then ask that much more important question. What am I to do to reclaim that moral high ground? What am I to do to earn those blessings that God has blessed us with? It's a republic, madam, if you can keep it. God bless each one of you. God bless Texas. And God bless the United States of America. Thank you all very much. We're adjourned.
You got a cup down there you've been peeing in? You got the biggest platter I ever saw.
I know.
Now,
Okay.
these haven't been done.
Okay.
These done. Those did it at that magnitude.
Okay. So these are alternating.